can be free. I take the weight on my shoulders. I feel the sky come down on me, and I can't hold it much longer. Gonna let go so I can be free. Yeah, yeah.
What a week for Foul Territory. Braun, Krasinski, Kratz, Jose Trevino, catcher of the Yankees, coming up in 20 minutes. Yes, please. Ken Rosenthal, who broke that big story about the scandal, if you could call it that, with Judge peeking and most likely looking at the first base coach who was grabbing tips from Jay Jackson. Dan Kaplan and Mike Tampellini, who are part of the Mariners organization. And I have an announcement, too, before we begin. It's not a personal announcement. It's a team announcement. AJ was backing up.
I was like, wait a second.
Are you moving?
There's a lot of things going through my head.
I'm moving. Many Fridays coming up this season to the Borgata in Atlantic City. Kratzy's going to be there. Todd Father tomorrow, hitting that late night flight tonight to AC. Can't wait. We will do the show live from the sportsbook at the Borgata.
Speaking of everybody getting tips.
You have the invite.
Speaking of everybody getting tips, everybody getting tipsy. Scotty's coming to AC.
Hell yeah, baby. I cannot wait. So make room.
I didn't
AJ,
get invited.
You're invited anytime.
See?
Work a Friday for once.
Atlantic City's in New Jersey. You're not invited.
Good point.
Yeah.
I've been to Atlantic City before, and then I left.
Jersey's pissed at you. So we will be live on location. So if anyone is in the tri-state area and wants to swing by,
come on out.
We're game. Come say hello. Some of the days we'll hang out and watch some games, eat some food. So
Can I ride on your PJ?
Yeah, you don't want to know the name of my PJ. I don't even want to name the airline that I'm going on. Okay, they do not deserve it. Let's just put it that. Do not say their name. Anyway,
I'm at a Delta.
I love Delta. Okay, so it's not Delta.
Okay,
I love you, Delta. AJ is verified on Instagram now. So if you're on IG and someone's dropping in your DMs or sliding or commenting,
careful what you wish for,
and they say Pierzynski, but there's no blue check mark, it's not AJ. Okay,
yes.
That's
not
important.
The real AJ.
No more fake AJs.
There's a lot out there.
Is there?
Are there?
There was. There used
to
be.
Because you didn't have socials. This is the problem. When you don't control your own narrative, someone else tries to do it for you.
Mm-hmm.
Boom.
Yeah.
Mic drop.
Now, now, guess what? I control that shit.
Mm-hmm.
I can do whatever I want. So watch out, world.
Hell
yeah.
I
want to kick you off.
That's right.
Also at the Borgata, we'll have merch in case you don't want to order it online, but you should. FoulTerritoryShop.com.
Oh, are you going to have like a little stand set up?
I'm not in charge of that department.
That would be badass if you had like a concert, you had like a little tent and you had someone standing there with shirts hanging on the wall and hats.
We might.
That would be awesome.
I'll find out. I'll take a picture of what our setup is for you.
Okay.
Shirts.
I probably won't be watching.
Hats. Yes, you will.
Liar.
I'm going to be golfing.
You know who's coming on tomorrow?
No.
Alex Bregman.
Okay.
Aaron Nola.
Okay.
And more.
Okay.
Give you a couple teasers.
Are they going to be at the Borgata?
No, they play baseball every day.
Where are the Phillies? The Phillies are at home, right?
They're just getting home, but Nola has a charity event tomorrow, so.
Oh.
Or today.
Charity or foul territory. Charity or foul territory.
Charity.
Okay.
All right. So before we get to Jose Trevino, let's charge the damn mound, please. What a night, really. We had 3 walk-offs, 2 games decided by team's final at bat. So I would say the one that stood out the most, and I think we should give them love, is what the Astros did. They swept up the Cubs. They've won 7 of 8. They were down 6-1 in the bottom of the 8th inning, and Jake Myers hit a 2-run dinger, and then Kyle Tucker with a 2-run single, and they win it. And Kyle Tucker off a lefty. Sometimes they're like, oh, Jordan and Tucker just put lefties up. Yeah, good luck.
They actually hit him better, especially Tucker. Tucker hits him better.
Are his splits currently?
They have been for his career. I don't know. But the last few years, he's been better against lefties. And Alvarez, everyone remembers the home run he hit off Alvarado.
Ray.
And Alvarado in the World Series.
What about Robbie Ray?
Robbie Ray. But then the one he hit in the World Series to win the World Series was huge too. So yeah, don't be bringing that lefty junk in.
Tucker. My
Tucker?
vote for most underrated player in the game.
Okay.
Most underrated.
Yes, no one talks about him because
No one
of
talks
Bregman,
about Jose
Altuve.
Ramirez.
He gets a little more love.
Yeah, but he gets MVP votes.
Okay.
I think Tucker should get more than he does. But RBIs aren't a thing, so people don't vote for RBIs. But
how about Gold Gloves in right field and stolen bases,
like
homers?
He's everything.
And he doesn't wear batting gloves, which is badass too.
That is badass.
But the question is we're talking about Houston. What about the Cubs bullpen last night? David Ross and the Cubby Bears they're starting to take on some water. Remember they were really good, and then the bullpen has kind of sunk them a little bit for about a week now.
The Cubs are not good.
But 2 weeks ago we were thinking because the Cardinals were so bad, maybe they got a chance to sneak in. But now it's kind of like,
don't we? I never said that. I always thought they were going to be a 500-ish, and that's the cap. They're 12-7 to start the year. Since then, 7-17.
See, there you go.
There's so much they are who we thought they were this year, and it happens fast. Sometimes it takes like half a season for teams to calm down. But so many of the clubs that people got a little bit excited about have already shown who they really are. And the Cubs are definitely in that category. I've been all over the Pirates. I'm definitely putting the Cardinals in that category on the reverse end, right? They win again. They beat Burns and company yesterday. So, Kratzy, this is where people get excited early in the season, and then water levels out. And the Houston Astros have already had their ups and downs, but they're up again, and they're 24-19, and they're just fine, even though they're not even close to full strength. But also a little added bonus, we might have Bregman on tomorrow to tell us about his buddy Jose Altuve back on the field. It could be tomorrow.
That's exciting for them, but I wanted the Cubs to do good. I wanted, a group that was like some not older veterans. Like I don't even feel like they're old, but you get a guys like Tyon and Stroman and Bellinger and Yan Gomes is still productive behind the plate. You have Hosmer at first, like guys that have done some things. Now, are they going to return to MVP caliber? No, I'm not saying that. I'm just saying that I kind of liked them in the NL Central to kind of push those teams. Still not making the playoffs, but I didn't like them going 7-17 after a 12-7 start. Like I feel like that was a team that if you're looking at a 500 team when we talked about them, you're like, okay, they could go that way. Well, they went the opposite way.
Why did you want them? Just because they have veterans on their team, so you wanted them to be good?
No, just because there's a lot of guys on that team that I'm like, if they're hanging around 3 games back in August and September, I think that's what we talked about. I'd like to see that team push it because I think Chicago baseball makes the Central relevant. Just NL or American League. I think it makes it relevant because it's a huge city.
Okay. I won't second that, but nothing against the players, or the team.
You don't care.
Listen, I didn't play for the Cubs. I played for.
You're supposed to be able to.
I played for the other team in Chicago.
You need to evaluate.
I didn't evaluate them. I said I don't have anything against the team.
Yeah, you're just not going, oh, I really want those guys to succeed.
Gosh darn, I hope the Cubs win.
Fair.
You almost had to throw up in your mouth right there.
Maybe I did. I had to
some of those vets you're talking about, I mean, they're playing fine. That's not the problem.
The bullpen has been a major problem.
The bullpen's a
Steele's
huge
been
problem.
good. Stroman's been good in the starters. Tyon's been okay.
It's not a swing and miss staff. It's got some similar issues to the Cardinals in that way.
The difference is the Cardinals have more weapons coming out of the pen.
They do, right.
And a better lineup.
And a better
Much
lineup.
better lineup.
Yes, but the thing is, the bullpen has been a major thing. If you look at the Cubs the last 10 games, it has been really bad.
Mm-hmm.
Even last night was 6-1, I think, in the 7th.
Ugh.
There was a weird play, too, where didn't David Ross walk Alvarez at some point?
No, he walked Bregman, didn't he?
To get to Alvarez.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was – you want to really pitch to Yordan Alvarez?
But
at
I
any
think
point?
it was 6-3.
Yes. And and it ended up, everyone's like, oh, it worked out for him. And then later on, it came back when Tuck got him.
Yeah, but with an Astros lineup, and this is completely getting into the weeds of how to manage a game, I do not let, when I have a 3-run lead, I do not let that heart of the order back up again. And when you automatically walk guys in those types of situations, yes, they got Alvarez out, but you try to get the outs in the situations you can, because all of a sudden you stretch an inning, 1 or 2 batters. Guess who's looming later in the game? Like, it's just, you got to put them down when you can, and maybe the matchup, they felt like it wasn't good, but that lineup is scary, especially when they get Altuve back.
Yeah, but the more times Alvarez, Tucker, Bregman come up, guess what?
Scary.
The more chances they have to do damage. And you got Myers hitting a home run, a huge home run. Then dude, in the 9th inning, you have Bregman, Alvarez, Tucker coming up. The game on the line. There's a pretty good chance one of them's going to sneak one in there, and Tucker just flicked that ball to center, 2 RBIs, game over. Astros win.
They're really good.
They've been really good.
They're still really good. I'm just saying they're still really good. So the way I size up the West, and actually with the Angels falling again last night to the Orioles, they're back to 500, and they've lost 8 of 11. Ohtani homered today so far.
Speaking
They're
of
up
really
1-0
good,
in the
the Orioles are really good.
The Orioles
especially
are really
at home.
Yes.
And I saw when they're favorites in a game, I think they're 19-3 on the money line. Keep it in mind, Kratzy, when they're favored in the game.
You've taken that from me. Kratzy.
I didn't get that from you. I got that from someone else.
Kratzy, how many times have I mentioned that already?
Yeah, like
Orioles
3 or 4.
money line 3 or 4 times.
But that's the stat. When they're favored, they're 19-3.
Correct.
I'm not going with the numbers anymore.
Okay.
He's taking a numbers break right now.
Yeah,
which
right.
Is fine.
I won last night.
Yeah, you're the only one.
Save it.
I had my whole family just watching the game thinking, no, Garrett, don't get another strikeout. Dad is down.
Yeah. All your Yankee buddies are like, shut up, Kratz.
Well, my son is a Yankees fan. I'll get that story another day, but my son is a Yankees fan. So he's like, Dad, are you cheering for Garrett to not get out of this inning? I was like, no, I'll take a double play for sure.
Hey, Atlanta also, great game. And Texas staying AL West for another second.
But speaking of bullpen problems, Texas
Texas
has had some bullpen problems. And Evan Grant, the writer who was on our show, we had mentioned him when we talked to him about a month ago. When Texas got off to a great start, we said, trade deadline, what are they looking for? And he said bullpen. And that was a month ago.
Guess what's available always at the deadline? Bullpen. That's a part that you can patch up quickly.
The problem is how do you find the right guys to fit the role you need?
Sure.
Bruce Bochy's a master at using a bullpen, but they've tried a bunch of guys in the back end of games, and every guy they seem to stick out there has been giving it up.
Go grab a closer or 2. I'm saying this is a team. This is one of those non-pump the brakes teams for me.
They're good. Dude, they can swing.
I actually think this team has a very legitimate chance of making it to the playoffs. Winning the division, that's a lot. But making the playoffs, very possible, especially if they pick up bullpen pieces at the deadline. Think about this. Most of the season so far, they haven't had Corey Seager. He just came back. Most of the season, or at least half at this point, no Jacob deGrom.
That's
not a surprise, but here's my point. If you can hang around and you maximize the Kershaw plan of the past, where you get 20 starts even out of him, that's a success. And if you have him healthy,
20 starts for $40 million is a success
this year. Hey,
that's a success.
You know what you and
I have different successes.
Yeah, but this team should be able to win without him, and they're doing that right now. So my point is, when you do have him on the mound, you're getting the best quality in the bigs. And then if you have him healthy for the playoffs, you're a pain in the ass. I agree. I get it. But what do you want to do? You want to give him a different body? He's going to be injury prone for the rest of his career. There's no doubt about it. So if I'm Texas, I'm just like, let's make sure we maximize what we get from him. We don't want, I'm out for the season, I'm shutdown mode. And the Dodgers have done that really well with Kershaw over the years when he's dealt with what he's got, including the back. Mm-hmm. For him, I'm managing starts and making sure that he's 100 billion% ready to return. And then I'm also making sure, no matter what, we have a fully locked and loaded DeGrom for playoff time. Right? Obviously, you got to get there. I get it.
I feel like some of this is overshadowing the fact that Atlanta's lineup just can get you anywhere. But the whole DeGrom thing, have we ever seen DeGrom where he's out on the mound and you're like, wow, his velo's kind of down. Oh, but he's pitched through it. you don't have to worry about the team getting him ready. Like, he's going to make sure he is 100% once he's out on that mound. Like, he comes back and you're like, oh, it's vintage DeGrom, 102 cutter, painted on the black. He's not, he mitigates his way through some of these pains, I would say, because what was his last major surgery?
Tommy John?
Which was how long ago?
17?
And how many times has he been on the IL since?
Two more. I only have 10 fingers, so I.
Right. So I think he's okay with 20 starts. That doesn't make him not competitive. It just makes him know Jacob deGrom at 94, 98, he doesn't feel like he can get it done. So you know what? He's going to come back off the IL whenever that is. July, maybe another stint at the end of July, and be ready for the end of September. And if this team, Josh Jung, freaking like Corey Seager's who's my second, because I forgot he came back, but he's my second most underrated player. Like,
no,
this
he's
lineup,
not underrated. Corey Seager? Just because he's playing in a small market right now, I think he was fairly rated when he was with the Dodgers.
I mean, don't get me wrong.
We
he's
knew
not
he was
underpaid.
damn good.
He got paid.
Yeah.
But if you said top 5 shortstops in the game, Corey Seager's name would not have popped up.
True. By the way, DeGrom had Tommy John in 2010.
That was in the last surgery he had.
No, I don't know. I was just guessing. But stress reaction, right scapula, elbow inflammation, entire second half 21. 2020, he missed time with back and arm trouble. There's
Surgery?
just
2021, he stopped pitching in July.
he had surgery on his ulnar nerve in September of 2017. He had surgery on his ulnar nerve, but it was not Tommy John. So that's the one I was thinking of.
To me, he's going to be healthy when he's out there. He's not going to pitch he's not going to pitch at 80%.
I know
which
what you're
I don't
saying.
even know what that means.
I got you. No, totally understood that. Yeah, we're not arguing that.
Yeah.
He's like Steven Strasburg. He has to be 100% healthy to pitch.
I think Strasburg's in a different category.
Well, I'm just saying that's what the knock was. They called him 72 and sunny.
Yeah, but
because
some
it
guys
had to be 72 and sunny for Strasburg to pitch.
Yeah, I think DeGrom is a step ahead of that. There's like this abyss category that Strasburg's in, where you're like you forget that the person exists. Like there's not even updates on the status of certain players, and he's in that.
Can we get Dave Martinez to ask him where in the world, like we do the where in the world is Adam Jones, where in the world is Steven Strasburg?
I could not be more excited to have a conversation.
Is he in Jupiter, or is he in West Palm? Is he in DC? Is he in California?
They hide a lot of stuff in Washington, D.C. Strasburg's just another one.
No, that just don't even leave that to baseball. Just keep that as a broad statement.
That was just a broad statement.
I like it. I think Texas is legit. Also, Adolis Garcia, that's the one other name I wanted to bring up. He leads baseball in the category that no one cares about, according to Kratz, the RBIs. RBIs.
Yeah.
He's got 46.
He hit 2 off Strider last night. Strider doesn't give him up.
He hadn't given up 2 home runs in a start, apparently.
And he hit 2
since
bombs
the playoffs.
Oppo. He went 2 bombs off
regular season.
Yeah,
but yes, 2 bombs, and I'm looking at the strikeout to walk because I know that was the big problem, and that's why he didn't get picked up by any teams. And then Texas claims him. And every year it's getting better. And this year it's tight right now. The walk to strikeout, the chase rate. The big thing for me always with the chase rate that I try and explain to like a more casual baseball fan, it's not just about chasing a pitch out of the zone and swinging and missing. It's just as bad to chase a pitch real far out of the zone sometimes and have poor quality contact. What?
That was what made AJ good.
That hurt. No, that's what made AJ good. But for Adolis, that's for him to tap into his power. You have to find the balance of sure, big moment. You just need to reach for one and get a knock. Go for it. But then also sometimes like we need ace swings on pitches in the zone from him. So spit at some stuff.
Yeah. Go ahead, Kratzy.
No, I was just gonna say, when you think about doing a scouting report after watching that game last night with Garcia's 2 homers, my mind, like you could show me what the numbers are for a scouting report for him. I'm always going to think, whoa, he clipped Strider twice, like on pitches that were, they weren't middle down. Those balls were up, and that's a legit fastball. So my mind is always going, I gotta make him stretch it. I gotta throw that slider down and away, curveball down and away, whatever that guy on the mound has, because those are signature home runs in my book as a catcher when I'm building a scouting report against that guy.
True.
There's a lot of chatter about the Braves bullpen. People are concerned.
The Braves have blown a lot of saves too. I saw something today where not only have the Rangers blown a lot, the Rays have blown a lot of games because they're ahead in every game.
Like
the Braves have blown a lot of games. Some of the best teams blow saves, but they might blow them earlier in the game and then come back and win, so it hides the warts.
It gets overshadowed by some good offenses.
Yes.
The Rays obviously can score. The Braves offense is sick.
Braves, dude, that ball Acuna hit last night, oh my gosh. And he hits him like off the ground 450 feet. Not like Adolis Garcia's getting heaters up and he's tomahawking them to right center. Acuna's getting them like golf balls. And whoo,
yeah, but the thing I'm seeing from Acuna is he's starting to hit last night he hit a fastball out. The other nights it was because he's always sat on breaking balls and he just murders them down in the zone.
Speaking of murdering a ball down in the zone, Trout just went deep on a ball down in the zone.
Well, there's your swing plane.
Yeah. It's the only way that the Angels are winning.
By the way, do you know Mike Trout has 0 stolen bases this year?
He doesn't run much.
But that was his thing. He was a 5-tool guy. He'd steal a bunch of bases. He has 0 this year.
The new rules. He's afraid of the bigger bases.
So he had, let's see, when's the last time he really was running? I mean, 11 in 2019 was the last time he was double digits.
What year did he hurt his thumb? Remember he hurt his thumb sliding and he kind of stopped after that.
Mm-hmm.
Every kid on my high school team has one of those mittens.
Yeah, the oven mitts.
Just get like 3 of them.
Hey, do they hit with it in their pocket and they play defense with it in there? Mike, nope, you're out. Got to take it out. You will not get on the field on my team if you have an oven mitt, in your pocket on defense. I will come on the field and I will take you off the field and I will grab it out of your pocket in front of everybody and walk back off the field. And kids go, well, that's drip, coach. And I'm like, yeah, well, drip your ass right back to the dugout then because you don't need it. You don't need that hanging out of your pocket. And then second of all, you don't need to hit with it. Have the first base coach. You can give it to the first base coach and have someone take it to him when you get on first.
Oh, you and me would have had such a great time as if you were my coach.
We only have 3 kids. We only have 3 kids with the sliding pad, but we have a pinch runner that has the sliding pad. So he always has that in his pocket. And I found out about drip. I always called it chrome before, but they have the drip. There's one kid on our team. He has sunglasses on, and I brought him in to pitch. And he goes, here, you got to take my sunglasses. And I looked at him on the way back in. It looked like somebody had weed whacked his sunglasses. There were so many scratches all over the lenses. So he got in, and I go, dude, I was like, there's no way you can see through these. Like, get some new ones. He goes, oh, I don't ever put them on. They just stay on my hat. Drip.
Yep. What's wrong with that?
CHP, Scott. CHP. Can he play?
Can he play and drip?
If you get both, then you got a hell of a player.
Okay.
But you better be good before you have the drip.
Scotty Braun, my chrome theory. My chrome theory. If you have more than 3 pieces of chrome, you're going to be an annoying player to the people you play against, and it's going to get in the way of their evaluation of you. You get 3 pieces of chrome, that's it. That's the level. No
Flair.
more.
Okay, so
it was like Flair. What was the movie? Office Space, where you had to have so many pieces of Flair on.
Have enough Flair.
Yeah, very, very much.
15's the minimum, but we really encourage you going over that.
Yes, that's you as a baseball player.
Yes.
You'd have eye black, sunglasses on your hat, elbow guard, foot guard.
I wasn't over the top.
Oven mitt.
I'm Kratzy status. Quality over quantity. Pick 2-3 items and make them really pop. And that's all you need. Let the game and everything else do the talking for the rest of it. I'm fine with that, but I'm saying, what if one of my chrome items is oven mittens in my back pocket? Is that okay, Kratzy?
That's fine, as long as you're on base and you're wearing it.
No, I want them in my back pocket for 9 innings.
While you're playing left field, you need it?
I want them in my back pocket.
In case you slide for a ball, you can stick it on real quick and
that's
don't
my
hurt
chrome,
your hand.
That's my Arozarena. That's what makes me feel good, comfortable and myself and make me play my best. Can I have them? Kratzy?
That's fine. You're allowed 3 pieces of chrome. Don't overdo it. And with those biceps, if you tailor your big league jersey to make those biceps stick out, that's 1 piece of chrome. You can't you're dealt with the card. You have to play with the cards you're dealt. So you can't. Okay. It's important. Chain.
Well,
there's a lot of chrome.
Fine. I don't care if you want to wear the oven mitt when you get on first base or second base or third base or wherever you're on base. Just get on base. But why are you wearing it playing left field? Why you got to have in your back? Wouldn't it slow you down having that big heavy thing flopping around hitting you in the backside?
I want to ask a current big leaguer.
He's not wearing an oven mitt. He's a catcher.
No.
Chance
Not
he's got
former.
First of all, he doesn't run fast enough when he gets on base because he's a catcher.
You're missing my setup.
Okay.
Let's bring on a current catcher from the New York Yankees, Jose Trevino, joining us right now. And he's been listening at least a part of it. So, Jose, help me out, please. The chrome rules. Can we have oven mitts in the back pocket? Please tell us not only your thoughts, but what is acceptable in the big leagues these days and for the little leaguers to look up to.
No, I don't think any no oven mitts in your back pocket, man. Get those, keep them in the dugout. When you get on base, have somebody come out or the first base coach to do that. I'm with AJ on this. I think it'll slow you down, especially as a catcher. I think it'll slow me down a little bit.
That's your big butt that'll slow you down. That's what's going to slow you down.
Hey, you're thinking of the guy in Seattle, Kratz. Don't try to put Trevino in the big dumpers category now, okay?
He's a Texas He's a Texas version of Big Dumper. That's okay. That's how you can squat. That's how you can do your thing. You got to have a little cushion.
Oh yeah.
What's acceptable though? What do you like that guys have accessory wise where you're like, they don't really need that, but I like it and it makes them play better because they feel good?
Man, it's up to you. But as catchers, you can't even wear a chain because if you get a ball off the chest, the indention of whatever's on your chain is going to be left on your chest for a couple hours. So, I mean, as catchers, we'll get the wrist tape. We'll get a couple wristbands, cool batting gloves, some eye black. But as catchers, man, you got to be careful because usually if it hits a bracelet, it's probably going to bust, or it's just you just can't wear it. It's uncomfortable.
Wait, you get cool batting gloves? Like, I love Franklin. I used Franklin all the time. But when I was playing for the Yankees, you've seen G's gloves. Like, he has G all over his gloves. Think about my 2 initials. I can't be putting that on no equipment. Like,
no, you
so
can't.
I just get the stock equipment. You can't put E and K anywhere on your baseball equipment. That is just negative vibes.
Yeah, you don't want that. You don't want that.
I wore Nike. They used to make me cool stuff all the time.
And did you wear it?
Maybe you guys should have worn Nike. I mean, batting gloves, wristbands.
Did you wear all that stuff?
Hell yeah.
Okay.
You're head to toe, though. You're head to toe Nike. You got to be head to toe Nike as a catcher.
Yeah, I was head to toe. I don't know if you know this, Jose, but I was also the first Nike catcher gear guy. Yep, toot my own horn.
Was it you or JP Arancibia? I remember JP.
Dude, I was JP Arancibia was still in college when I had it. JP might be. It was actually Posada and I were the first 2.
Oh,
they
that's
came
right.
to me and said, "Hey, we're going to try these out. Do you think you'll do it?" And they came to me in the offseason and brought me a bunch of different gear. And Posada and I collaborated, and we made the original Nike gear, and we had it forever. Now they've changed it; it's way better now, but.
Can't wait for the 30 for 30 on that.
Oh yeah, totally.
Jose, tell them about what gear you get when you're a guy that has to be up and down for the first 4 or 5 years of your career. Tell them what kind of gear you get and how those boys treat you.
You'll get that stock gear from like 2 years ago, and you're just grinding with it. And if it stinks a little bit, just spray it down, wash it, hopefully just throw it outside and let it dry. None of that custom yet. You don't get none of that custom gear yet.
I mean, you're on the custom now.
I rock that All-Star gear. I get it.
Yeah, but you bounced. You ain't royal. You ain't loyal. You went straight to Nike. You went for that cash. Everybody getting tips. I get it.
Jose, speaking of, I do have a question not about catching gear. So I want to hear the story because I read about it today and I never heard anyone do this. You were an A-ball. And Howard Johnson was your manager, and you lied, and you said You called the GM. You told him you called the GM because you had a doubleheader, and you said, "Oh, they said I could do it," and then you played both ends of the doubleheader, which I respect the hell out of.
Yep.
And then they found out afterwards, and they were like, "Hey, well, he lied. He just got suspended for wanting to play."
I got suspended. I got suspended for wanting to play. Basically, we were
Or
in
lying.
high desert, wanting to play. Didn't tell the full truth. Wanting to play was more better. But we were in high, and I think we were close in like the standings with Lancaster, and I had been hot. I was swinging a good bat, and I felt good catching. My body felt fine. So I went to the manager, to Hojo, and I was like, Hoj, like, yo, let me catch both of them. And he's like, you're crazy. I can't do that. I'll get in trouble. And I was like, nah, man, I'll call Chris Briones, and I'll call, whoever I need to call. And he's like, okay. He's like, let me know what they say. So I ended up calling them. And then our catch coordinator, Chris Briones, actually was like, probably not a good idea. I wouldn't do that. I don't think it'd get approved. And I was like, all right, thanks. And I just hung up. And then I went to Hojo, and I said, Hoj, they said yes. Like, we're good.
I love that.
Did you guys find him
But
suspended?
Hojo was like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, Hoj, you're good. Like, let's do it. We're good. And he was like, all right, Trevi, whatever you say.
And how'd you do?
Yeah. I think the first game I got a few hits. The second game, maybe I got a hit and a walk, maybe. I don't really remember, but I know I played both games.
That's a
I think I
down
threw
day
out
in
a couple
high
guys
desert.
too. Yeah. Yikes.
But you got suspended though, right? You got suspended after that? Didn't they suspend you?
I got suspended 3 games. No baseball activity. No
Oh.
baseball activity.
What?
So and I was swinging it well. And then I ended up getting cold after that. So I was like, you know what? Screw it. I'm going to blame it on them. That's y'all's fault. That's why I'm not hot anymore.
I hear that.
That's
I hear
bad
that.
development.
Also-
that is poor development.
Okay, so also in that same story where they were telling this story, Howard Johnson, who was his manager, they wanted to send Jose to Double-A, and he said, no, we're keeping him in A-ball because I want to make a playoff run. So he screwed Trevino out of going to Double-A so Howard Johnson could get a better record in A-ball.
Wow.
Dude, no. Okay, all right, here we go. All right. I didn't know this. So I didn't know Hojo said something like, I didn't know that was happening. What I was questioning was like, why am I not going to Double-A? I was doing well. And then there was a sign in right center field that said like, you belong here. And it was like a Budweiser sign or something like that. And I kept looking at that sign. It was almost like, getting clues from the outside or whatever, deja vu, whatever people say. And I'd look at that sign forever. And I'm like, man, do I really belong here? Like, why am I not going to Double-A? Like, what's going on? And sure enough, like, I find out that Hojo was like, no, he could stay here. And then the farm director had come into town and was like, we want to see if you can win another championship with this group of guys. And I was like, you know what? Like, screw it. I got you. I'm going to go win another championship. And then sure enough, we ended up winning. So, yeah.
This guy's a winner, and he posts.
Yeah?
And he gets in trouble for
I love
posting.
it. I love
which
it.
is great. That's the best story.
Jose, you know who never had that problem? Kratz, because he's like, you want me to play 2 games in a week? Nope, I'm out. Nope, sorry, suspend me. I'm not playing. Suspend me.
No, the minor leagues was way different. Way different.
Dude, I was so pissed off. I went in the office and I was like, dude, like, you're going to suspend me. Let me get this right. I sat there and I was like, let me get this right. You're going to suspend me for wanting to play more baseball when you got guys in our clubhouse who don't even want to be on the field. And they were like, that's not the reason. I'm like, no, that is the reason. Like, this is what we're doing. You're suspending me because I wanted to play a lot more baseball. Sorry. Like, that's what I'm getting out of it. And sure enough.
That's freaking wild. It's
unbelievable.
wild.
When I read
it was
that
actually,
today, I couldn't believe it.
Corey
that when I read
Corey Ragsdale, who's the first base coach for the Rangers now, was actually in that. And I know deep down inside, Rags did not want to suspend me. And I knew deep down inside, Rags was like, dude, that's the biggest G move I've ever heard in my life. I knew he didn't want to, so I knew it came from a little bit up above, which I respect. But at the same time, I was like, I didn't need to get suspended.
So you can't. So you learned from that whole thing. You can't lie, right?
No.
No, you didn't. That could be a lie right there.
You still think you're right, but anyway, we're gonna go into more pertinent stuff, more local things. What since the Cleveland start, or right before the Cleveland start for Mingo, for Sunday, Herman, what did he change? Because in that start, the dude, and the second part of my question is going to be how he was only at 8 1/3. But what does he change?
Yeah. So obviously, I know what we'll get to here in a little bit. The whole sticky situation, man. It's different because
It's sticky.
nobody really knows like what's too sticky, what's not sticky, like what is like, is it somebody's discretion? Like, dude, Domingo's been really good the past few starts, and he throws like, there's guys that talk about it. Obviously, there's guys that talk to me, hitters that talk to me, and they're like, dude, like it seems like he throws like 3 different breaking balls, which we only call it one breaking ball, but receiving it, you can tell when a guy has like a downer or like a sweeper or like kind of cutterish. You can tell that, but we just call it one breaking ball, and he just throws the different ones. So like, guys are like, dude, the breaking ball is like really good, and he he has 2-seam, 4-seam, and he locates both sides of the plate, and he has a really good changeup, swing and miss changeup. So as a righty, you got to respect that. As a lefty, you're like, all right, I got to figure out how to hit this dude and get something in the air. But I know people are gonna, obviously be like, oh, well, he's using sticky stuff. Like, dude, like I watched Domingo, and he just sits there and he's like, all right, grabs the rosin, like, all right, let's go. Like, we're good. And I know like there's a video floating around about him having something on his pants, and I know that real baseball players know what was on his pants, and it wasn't sticky stuff. So real baseball players know, like, oh, he obviously just took something out of his mouth. So that's what was on his pants.
That's what
Yes.
this show does. We knew that. We said that. We said that yesterday morning. There it is. We all know. We pointed it out. Of course, Kratzy.
Yeah.
But I mean, that's what I said. I said that's a big old hog that he just pulled out of his mouth. But my thing is it a concerted effort? Because I started looking into your numbers with Mingo, you and Higgy, not just you. Is it a concerted effort to throw one pitch more than another? Because the numbers say it is. And is that something that you guys have been trying to do and he's had success with?
Maybe not.
Everybody's got the numbers. Everybody's got the numbers.
Yeah, but the thing is 2 different catchers. Like, we might call a different game, but we understand like this is what we need for him to be successful. If it is, it's not intentional. Like, we're just going out there with our game plans and going with it,
Okay, so let's go direct here. What has he said since? Like, did you talk to him about it? And I want to make sure we double down on something that comes up multiple times a week. We have multiple players on this show every day talking to big leaguers, and then me as a side piece. So what can the league do to fix this shit? Because everyone is lost. Dude, we do therapy multiple times a week on this show because we can talk about it and be like, no one knows. And the ump after the game is like, it's definitely not rosin. How the fuck do you know?
And but that's the thing. Like, I respect the hell out of the umpires, man. Like, I respect they have a tough job. Like, I respect them. But at the same time, like, I don't know what they can do. I have no clue. Like, this is going to be a hard thing to like for everybody to grasp, because what's sticky, what's not sticky, and what everybody knows is that you get enough rosin on your hand, you can make it sticky. And then not only like the thing about it is like whenever you have rosin, like they rub the baseballs up with mud, right? So like people are always saying like, oh, well, his hand's dirty. And it's like, dude, like there's mud on the baseball already. So your hand's automatically going to turn a different color because of the mud on the baseball, because when they rub them up. So it's like, you can't go by like hand color. You can't go by like stickiness. You can't go, I I have no clue. Honestly, it's out of my pay grade. I just know that rosin is the choice of everybody, and that's what they use.
Jose, when you guys, because we did obviously I did scouting reports, Kratz did scouting reports. You go over the umpires when they're there, so you knew Domingo was pitching, and you knew the umpires were the same ones where they had the problem against Minnesota, right? Was there any thought of going to Domingo and saying, dude, just be as careful. Look, I know we need rosin. I get it. Hands get slick. It's especially indoors in like the Rogers Center where it's a little drier. Did anybody go to him and say, you're on their watch list because of what happened? Let's be extra careful this start?
I didn't. I didn't personally because I was like, the thing is, I didn't see a problem with any of it. So that's the thing. Like, they checked him when he went out. They checked him when he came back in. Like, I was like, all right, whatever. Like, it's fine. Like, it's just rosin, right? Like, everybody knows, like, yeah, it's rosin. We're good. Like, it's good. And I guess they were like, oh, I heard it's the stickiest hand I've ever touched. And it's like, okay, like, but dude, it's rosin. And if you get enough rosin on your hand, like, it's going to get sticky. It's going to get sticky.
And different people sweat differently. There's so much. Like, to me, like, I think it's got to be judged based on spin rate. If somebody's spin rate doesn't go up, which Mingo's didn't go up, leave it be. You don't even need to touch
that's
people.
That's the part that, so, like, I went to the iPad and I was like, well, then, like, go look at his spin. Like, check his spin. And it was the same. It's fine. So, like, I don't know, man. I don't know what baseball is going to do. I have no answer for that. I don't know if, like, there is an answer for it. But if there's going to be a discretion on it, like, by the umpire, we all have to know, like, okay, this is sticky. This is not sticky. Like, what is it?
Yeah, but now Nestor's throwing today. Now you go out and Nestor in the third inning. Oh, Nestor's too sticky. Now the Yankees are in a sticky situation because for 8 days straight, you guys don't have two pitchers and you're down 2 roster spots. Now you're pissed. Like, right now you're kind of confused. But if that happens today, because Nestor's not trying to, Nestor's doing everything he can. And if he slips and falls on the wrong rosin bag, because there's no, like, now you're pissed. So take me to tonight after the game when Nestor gets thrown out for sticky stuff.
Well, hopefully he doesn't. That would be very unfortunate for our whole team. But, like, it's already tough because of Domingo. Like, it's already tough because we're down 2 guys. That's the tough part. And like, y'all know as catchers, like, you take care of your pitchers, man. You don't want them to throw a ton of pitches. You don't want them to get worn out. You want them to be as fresh as they can be for as long as they can be, And it's just it's a tough situation, man. And we got a good group of dudes that are gonna, our guys don't say no to the baseball. If they're told to, like, hey, you're gonna throw, they're like, all right, let's roll. We got a bunch of dogs in the bullpen that are just like, all right, let's roll. Like, I'm throwing today, I got it. Let's go.
So here's my last thing on this is, Herman comes back obviously in a week and change. Like, how do you make sure that he's good from now on? Because, whether it's him and not even doing anything wrong, just sweating and using rosin, like, I don't know what he's supposed to fix if everybody's got a different barometer umpire wise.
Yeah.
And also, is there communication with the league about this? Because we've had 30 players in the last few weeks ever since Scherzer. And Scherzer, 2 days before he got banged, was on with us complaining about it. So I'm like, you guys are players. There's got to be somewhere to go. I mean, the guys that work in the league office, the former players that work in the league office, like, they need to get phone calls and be like, we need to figure this out, because, like, we're losing players and we don't even know why.
Yeah, but I don't think anybody does anything about it until it happens to one of their guys.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Like, until it's like, oh, damn, like, he's too sticky. Like, okay, well, what? Like, then people are going to start asking questions. But I think it's worth something, like, being like, yo, we need to figure this out as a whole, like, players association. We need to figure this out, because there was definitely nothing else on his hand. Like, I can tell you that. And for that to happen, it's like, dude, are you serious? Like, come on, man. It sucks. It sucks because he's throwing the ball well. I mean, he was doing a good job. He was doing a good job, and he was doing what he was supposed to do, and he's making pitches. And it's like, okay, now we got to do a whole different thing where it's like, all right, bullpen has to be ready. Everybody has to be ready, and it's like, all right, here we go.
Was it you chirping from the dugout that Judgy wanted to stop chirping?
I was getting ready. I didn't even get to see where the home run landed. I actually had to go see on the iPad. Pretty impressive shot.
Well,
Do you ever watch the base coaches when you're catching? Do you ever like kind of like hint at like the other base coaches that you're like, I don't like where he's at. Like I'm gonna like turn and like
I'm a big if you want to do that, go for it. But like I'm more worried about my guy executing the pitches, and I know what my guy can do to get your guy out. So obviously, like there's a lot of stuff that goes on, whether it's pitch tipping, whether it's anything really. Like as catchers, it's on us to keep it clean, to help keep our pitchers like, hey, like that looks a little different. You need to clean that up. Whether it's, an infielder moving too soon to the location now with like getting the signs. Like I know y'all didn't have pitch com, but like I'm sure y'all kept an eye on the infielders. Like I always keep an eye on my infielders. I'm like, hey, like I know you got the pitches, but don't move too soon. Or like, hey, like make sure you stay steady and then you can move. But like I'm always looking around. But if the base coaches want to do that, I just think it's too hard with pitchcom. Like, there's no way. There's no way.
PitchCom should eliminate this, right? Because you're just pressing buttons, and now you cover it with your glove. So then you cover with your glove, and then you push the buttons. So that's what the one thing about this when they said, it was Judge Aaron was looking at the dugout, which kind of whatever. We're just going to go with that. But even if he's looking at somebody, unless the pitcher is doing something, which then the pitcher came out and said he was doing it behind his head where the first base coach or someone on that area could see it. If you're using PitchCom, it eliminates, other than tipping your pitches, it eliminates peeking at the catcher, right? And it was weird. Kirk was using PitchCom, but then he was giving dummy signs, he said, which I've never heard of. I've never heard of that. But PitchCom should eliminate 99% of this, because even if I'm hitting and I look dead at you and I'm like trying to see what sign you're giving, right? If you hit a button, I don't know what button you're hitting. Button could mean anything.
Yeah.
So
yeah, and to be honest, like I heard us chirping because it was. I mean, obviously the series has been intense. It's been a great series, like back and forth. Between it's always going to be good because it's an in-division team. We want to win. They want to win. It's going to be up to standards, man. This is good baseball. This is great baseball. And like any kind of call, any kind of, thing that swings their way, we want every pitch. You know what I mean? As a catcher, I want every pitch. As a hitter, I don't want to get strikes called on me. So like when I was getting ready, I was down in the staircase. I was, moving around, getting loose. And I heard, we were chirping. Everybody chirps, man. Like you can yell in that place. When the music's going on, you don't hear anything. So it's like, oh, whatever. But like we chirp. And I think we were chirping a little bit too much. But I think the other day we were in Tampa, and you can hear everything there, like people yelling, people like, "Oh, you suck!" Like like you can hear all that. So like the places are different. But for me, it's like, dude, like if we're gonna chirp, we're gonna chirp. Like sorry about it, but at the end of the day, I remember being in the tunnel, and I remember hearing some chirp. And then I just remember hearing a really loud sound. And I was like, oh, damn, did he hit it out? And I went out there and I was like, oh, man, where'd it go? And they were like, yeah, it's way gone.
he seemed kind of, and he's the captain, he seemed kind of pissed at you guys when he spoke afterward. Like, did he come into the dugout or the clubhouse and be like, shut the fuck up?
There's people that do that. Like I think, like, for me, I don't like when guys come in the dugout and like if I'm hitting and they're like slamming their stuff or like talking to the umpire still, like that kind of like, I'm just like, all right, dude, like, it's all right. Like, we'll figure it out. I'll talk to him or something like that. So he did come in. He said something. He did say something, but it was just kind of like, hey, let's go. Like, let me do my thing. But I personally, I'm like, yo, like, we'll figure it out later. Maybe you can talk to him, go watch the pitch, that kind of stuff. So, because I mean, it happened to me yesterday. Like, I didn't agree with some calls, and I came in the dugout, got dressed, came out, and I was like, DJ, and I had my conversation with DJ, and I'm like, hey, this is what I'm thinking, this is what I'm seeing. Like, you know, if they're gonna do that, if they're gonna get that pitch, I want that pitch. You know, if you're gonna call that on number 99, you need to call that on their guys, like that kind of stuff. You know what I mean? And that's just regular baseball stuff, as catchers would know.
Yep.
This series is freaking awesome. Like you said, it's been entertaining as
Good
hell.
series,
It's really good for baseball. So I got to do one more on a funny note, because I'm watching the game, 2 nights ago. And at first, because everyone saw it, it was beautifully captured by both broadcasts. John Schneider's like, shut up, fat boy. And on the Yankees broadcast, were you on base during that time period? Because they were like, who's he talking to? They're like, they're talking to Trevino. I'm like, whoa.
Whoa, man. Whoa. I'm on base. I'm not a part of the fat boy crew. But if we need to, you know, if I'm a part of the fat boy crew, let's do it. I'd rather just have it as a Z, not an S. You know, maybe we can go with like Booney and the Fat Boys. It is what it is, man. It's talk. It's trash talk.
But
you know,
has
that's
Wilkerson
what
put on that much
trash
weight?
Trash talk is trash talk, man.
Hey,
It wasn't you, though. It wasn't you.
Has Wilkerson put on that much weight since he started coaching that now they're now calling him Fat Boy?
I don't know, man. I heard that it was towards Wilkerson. Wilkerson's just in there doing his job, man. I feel terrible for him, but he, you know, he's running with it, man. It is what it is. If that's what you got to say, you know, that's what you want to. That's what came out of your mouth. It is what it is, man. Like, that's your choice of words. Like, all right.
Kratz was the one that broke the news. The last 48 hours, people are like, who was he talking to? And Kratz right away in the game was like, oh, he's talking to Wilkerson. Like, he texted us. And I was like, can you tell everyone yesterday, like on the show? Because I'm seeing tweets from pretty big Twitter accounts, right? Being like, who is he referring to? And I'm like, we know. Kratz knows. He played on the team. He knows what's going on. He texts everybody.
I didn't know Wilkerson, but I know the rest of the coaching staff, and those boys, they will sweat it out to the oldies. They're getting their hip exercises in. You know, Booney's at that stage now where he's on the elliptical. You know, there's no more Phil Nevin where he's like ripping some buys.
I think Luis Rojas passes the fat boy line. That dude is pretty big. Casey Dykes is also very, very jacked. So going down the list, you know, process of elimination, you know, I think we all kind of figured out who it was, and it's just like I said, it is what it is, man. Whatever. That's your choice of trash talk. Like, that's what you got. That's what you got, man. I know Schneider too, man. I came up playing against Schneider. He was a manager in come on, for low A or for short season in Vancouver. So he was a coach for me. I went to the All-Star game with him, so I know him. But I mean, just hearing that, it's you know, it's trash talk, man. It is what it is. You know, that's what we love. That's what we love. We love the trash talk. Trash talk's the best, you know.
Posey, that's my first roomie ever. We got drafted together. First roomie ever. Talk about swag. We started all off with chrome. This man had so much chrome. He was chromed out for a 13th round University of Delaware catcher. Tons of chrome.
Yeah, he was a catcher. I remember talking to him about catching a lot and stuff. But yeah, chromed out, man. I don't think I can Glaber's always giving me crap about not having a bunch of swag on my catcher's gear and not having gold or platinum on there. I'm like, dude, it's just give me the damn gear and let me just go out there and play. In the end, it's just I just want to freaking play baseball. Trash talk, no trash talk, tipping, no tipping, whatever it is. Let's just play the damn game and let's do this.
Jose, I got to tell you, if Glaber's giving you a hard time, I just checked my underwear because I have 2 pair of underwear that Glaber gave me for myself. So I have Glaber Torres underwear. He's got his own underwear line. So if you're not on that train, you better get some.
It's probably all chromed out too. It's probably
It's
chromed out. He's
so
got
nice.
some swag.
It's so nice.
Oh yeah.
Hey, last one for you, Trevi. We got a question from NYY News TV. He goes, can you ask Trevi what he's seeing potentially that's hurting Cortez over his last couple of outings? Like, he was sick from front to back last year, right? Start to finish. So is there anything you're noticing lately? Obviously, I know we're not giving away game plans here, but just for execution.
No, man. I mean, just execute, man. Just executing. Like, Nestor's at his best when he controls all sides of the plate, and he's been doing a better job of that lately. And I have no doubt that he's gonna be good tonight. Nestor. It's just like everything, man. Like, everybody goes through a stage and then you come out of it. But I fully believe in Nestor. He's a great pitcher, and I think he's gonna hop back on the train and be fine.
Good shit, dude. Have fun. Enjoy the final.
Yeah.
It feels like a playoff series, at least for us watching. So have fun out there, man. Yeah. Enjoy.
Yeah. No, for sure, guys. I appreciate it.
Hey,
Thank
when
you.
the trash talking starts, just hide, because that way Schneider won't yell at you and call your name. So make sure you go down the tunnel, okay?
You can take it. Good catching up, dude. We'll get you in a few weeks, all right?
See you guys. Thank you.
Cheers, man. That was good stuff. Oh man, that series has like 8 layers to it already. It's so fun.
It was great though. We've had great guests on the whole time about it.
Yeah.
From Toronto side, Yankee side, and just then everything that happened with the Aaron Judge, to the trash talking, to the coaches, to the games. Jarrett Cole was awesome last night, but so was Chris Bassett. They lose an extra inning.
You know what I wanted to say about last night? I guess I should have put it out there on social or something. I was like, oh, last night was boring. It was just a pitcher's duel with 2 of the better dudes in the game, plus a walk-off from Danny Jansen. I'm like, where's the drama? Where's the fighting? Yeah. Where's the dude booted and suspended? Like, there was a
lot of good plays. I know, I'm saying, but there was big strikeouts. Romano came in with guys all over the bases, got out, and then it was entertaining if you like good pitching and good defense and just 2 really good teams going to battle. And
Judge.
I didn't. What he went like this, but then what was the?
Well, I think isn't that what they do? And then so he was doing it with his no peeking. Sign, right? Kratzy, am I good there? Am I accurate? I didn't play on the record. I did not play. I'm just a fan. I observed.
I didn't see it. I've only seen the pictures of it, so I really didn't comment of anything because, like, after the home run, yeah, he had that, but like, I don't know if that was like a perfect still shot of him like doing something else, but he's so pro, like trolling everybody that's trolling him for something. Like, I love it. I mean, it's how some of the best celebrations come about. Like, you plan all this stuff. The one that the Yankees used to do, they used to go like this when they got a base hit.
Mm-hmm.
They were trolling one of the front office guys because in spring training, he would come around the corner and go like this to the egg guy and not come in and ask for egg, and not come in and ask the guy. And the guy, he just a great attitude about it the next year, but realized he was getting trolled. So everybody was trolling him because it was just something that happened. Like, that's fun to me.
I always would ask when I was with players, like, what the celebration was, right, from second or whatever. And I only got the answer like half the time, especially if I'd ask it on a camera, of course. So, and there's your reasoning, right? I don't even know if that story was out there because they don't want to throw someone under the bus or make it a whole thing. But it's not like those just come out of the blue. There's always something like that where there's a backstory to it.
Some of them that I've seen, though, I won't even tell my wife what they mean. So
I've heard some of those.
That's where, hey, you know what? And that's fine. Like, that's part of rolling out with the boys. Like, you're out there with the guys. Like, and wives most of the time know that. Like, they understand.
Mm-hmm.
There are things that happen in the clubhouse that need to stay in the clubhouse. Sometimes a celebration is that thing. There are other things that happen that just stay there. Great sign in Texas. What you hear here, stays here. What you see here stays here. And it was right in the visiting clubhouse, and you would walk in and walk out.
I like the A's motto. What happens in Vegas?
You're such an A's, dude. You're the A's.
You are an Angels then A's hater. I think you hate the Angels more than the A's.
Very different scenarios, but
Same
sure. You know how I am, though. I mean, I like half the situations in the league, and I don't like half the situations in the league, which is really how most people feel.
Mm-hmm.
I'm just saying it out loud. No, the Angels thing is I want superstars to be on, So anyway, all right. Next up, our insider Ken Rosenthal joining us right now after a pretty action-packed interview with Jose Trevino. Not sure how much of it you caught, Ken, but
very action-packed and very
Yes.
well done, I must say.
Mhm.
You guys hit all the points, and he was great. He was really interesting. There was a lot of food for thought there.
Yes. So any thoughts that you took from what he said? Obviously, he was sticking to the Judge side of things. He's barking at the dugout. Okay. You broke the story the other night about Jay Jackson and tipping. And so I want to get your thoughts on this show, if you want to touch on that part, and then also on the Herman part of things, because I thought that was probably Trevino's best stuff.
Yes. First of all, the Judge chirping or looking at the dugout because the dugout's chirping, nice try. I'm not buying that. I don't think any rational person is buying that.
Hey, Ken,
Yes.
Jose said he doesn't lie anymore, okay? So he would not lie to us, okay?
Not anymore.
He wouldn't take Judge's side just to cover,
AJ, we've both been around this game long enough, as has Eric, as has Scott, to know that stories are concocted all the time. Now, the one thing, AJ, I had a question for you about was when you said with PitchCom, there really is no reason to peak anymore for signs. And there's no reason 99% of the time to peak at all. However, what about location? What about where a catcher sets up? Could a hitter be looking for that? Not that Judge was in this case. I don't believe that was the case at all. And as Jay Jackson later said, he was tipping and there were other things going on. But it seems to me you could look down, look for location.
It's hard to see, though. You have to really look, Ken. So if I'm a right-handed hitter, I hit left-handed, so we'll do it because I was left-handed. The pitcher is that way. So I'm this way, and I was open. So in order for me to see where the catcher was, I would literally have to go.
Yeah.
Right? And then I guess then as Lance Lynn said, guess what I'm getting? Funk. Right?
Well,
So
and actually,
but
guys
will wear sunglasses, and they're looking down at the catcher, even though because you can't see their eyes. So I was always wary as a catcher, guys with sunglasses, make sure they were looking dead ahead before I went, okay, whatever sign we're putting down. Because there were some guys they would go like this with their bat, and then they'd bring their bat, oddly enough, right when you're about to put a number down. So there's some interesting timing there. But as far as looking now at the pitch count, it should eliminate peaking other than from tipping like Jay Jackson said he was doing, which then leads to over his shoulder, right? The first base coach or somebody in their dugout can see it. And right when he did it was right when Judge's eyes went from here to there and back. It was quick, and good on the Blue Jays for catching it because that was pretty amazing that they caught it right on time.
Now, the one thing also with this is that I heard the Lance Lynn interview yesterday with you guys, and I thought it was really well done again. And also Lance's comments about what you just said, AJ, throwing at somebody. Now, I'm not condoning throwing at people. I get it, and the game has kind of advanced beyond a lot of those shenanigans. But yesterday, right before you guys posted the Lynn interview on Twitter, I got a text from a retired pitcher who said this is very easily solved. You throw at somebody, and the next time it doesn't happen again, shifting your eyes for whatever reason you're doing it. So it seems to me that is one solution. Again, I'm not condoning it, but it's the way the game was enforced by the players on the field. And Eric, you know this kind of thing was commonplace really not that long ago, and now it seems to be not part of the game at all.
Yeah, and that's because I think some people stepped in that tried to control it. I think the league was, again, reactive instead of proactive in it. And they're taking – because the umpires used to be a part of it. I mean, AJ was in the league 10 years before me, and the umpires were able to, handle these situations. And, obviously I'm not condoning people getting hit either. Absolutely not. But I'm also not condoning peaking. I'm not condoning giving up an advantage that I have. And to me, it's a league thing. The players had it under control. It's a league thing that needs to give more power back to the players, or maybe just tell the umpires, hey, let them take care of it, and then we'll sift through it as we go.
Now, one thing, guys, I do want to mention also, I think, Eric, you mentioned this about enforcing the sticky stuff, and we'll get to Herman in a second, through spin rates. And if you were watching Fair Territory a few weeks ago, I actually got into this and why the league is so resistant to using spin rates to determine enforcement and whether a pitcher is illegally using sticky stuff. And there are a few reasons for it. One, there's no baseline. So if you took the baseline of each pitcher right now, you might be getting a couple of guys who are cheating right now, and it wouldn't be a proper baseline. The other thing, or other things, are that with spin rates, they're variable throughout a game, and often they diminish throughout a game. They can be affected by a number of factors. Pitcher's mechanics that day, weather, all kinds of things. And generally, they do go down as the game progresses, as you would expect. So what happens if a pitcher's spin rate stays relatively steady throughout the course of a game? Is he cheating? So you put all of this together, and I'm simplifying it to a degree, and the league just feels that that is not a proper way to measure and enforce, that the umpires would have the best feel for it. Now, all the things Jose was saying about Herman and the difficulty of knowing what is proper and what is not proper, these are points Max Scherzer has raised on this show and to reporters as well. That is something that is really difficult for pitchers and players in general, and getting a feel for this is not going to be easy, and we've seen it's not going to be easy. At the same time, it's not like there's an ejection every day. We've seen a few egregious ones in the umpire's judgment this year, and it seems to me that 95, 98% of the pitchers seem to have this figured out. So, yeah, I get what Jose is saying, and he raises some really good points about the unknown, about players not really understanding what the line is. But at the same time, most pitchers, as I said, seem to be finding their comfort zone within these new enforcement rules.
But can you tell, like, I tried to read the body language. I was actually watching both games. To me, it felt like Scherzer was sitting there going, no, I've done nothing wrong. Why on earth would you, like, you can't do this? And Domingo was like, okay, like, yeah. I hear what you're saying.
Those are two different personalities too, Eric, and you kind of have to take into account Max's more volatile personality from what we've seen in the past. And Max did feel and still feels like he was doing nothing wrong. The umpires determined otherwise, and they determined that he was using sticky stuff, or at least rosin to the point where it was too sticky. And Max said he mixed it with alcohol and all of this, and he did it in the clubhouse. Well, you're not supposed to do it in the clubhouse. Now, Max would say, I've brought this up to him. Hey, what are we doing here? I got to go now with the pitch clock on. I've got to go in the back of the mound every time I feel that my hands need the rosin. All reasonable points, but there are certain lines you can't cross. And it seems to me that these few pitchers who have crossed it, they've crossed it in a pretty big way. Now, we could agree to disagree on some of this, but at the same time, if the problem was so pronounced, we'd be seeing ejections every day. We're not.
Here's why I think it's pronounced. Because I think it's an ump thing. It's like going to class and there's some teachers that are more lenient because we're not using any type of science. Like we test for PEDs, we use the same tests. We're going off hands of adults that are going, well, yeah, okay. I think there's certain ump crews or human beings that think something feels stickier than it is or just want to enforce the rules harder. And now, just like you look at guys' strike zones, right? Every hitter, every catcher, they know, oh, this guy, he calls the high strike more. His zone's a little wider. Hey, watch out. This guy checks for sticky shit. So let's like really scrub the hands down each time we come on. That's the human element that I think sucks because it could bite you at any moment. So I don't like that part. Do you feel like there's any issues there where the umps are getting too much of a responsibility to police this?
Scott, I like your point, and I would even further it by saying, here's a sport that looks to quantify everything, and this is the one area where we're going to still let it be subjective. That doesn't seem to be consistent with the league's thinking on many, many other matters where they're throwing data at us left and right. At the same time, I've had the issues explained with using spin rates, and they seemed like logical explanations to me on why spin rates were kind of flawed when judging whether a pitcher is using sticky stuff. And Scott, you're absolutely right. This is going to vary from umpire to umpire, just as strike zones vary from umpire to umpire. And maybe that's just part of the process now players have to go through, knowing certain guys will flag you, Phil Cuzzy, and certain guys maybe will take a more lenient approach. It's not perfect. No one should suggest it's perfect. At the same time, let's go back to the beginning, too. If the pitchers were not using sticky stuff to excessive points and effectively cheating, as they were for the past several years leading up to the enforcement, we wouldn't be here in the first place. And I'll give you another point, and this is more in the players' favor. If the league could develop a ball that had enough stick to it, as they have in Japan, as we seem to be unable to do here with all our science, then that would be a way to eliminate the problem as well. And I don't understand why we can't get to that point. It's baffling to me
Wait.
we're still looking at this.
Wait, you said the players are using the sticky stuff. Like, so you're saying coaches, there was definitely not a team that coaches were like, oh, here's what we have. Like, there's other people that are culpable in this situation. It's not just no.
I don't know.
team
I understand that, Eric. But
no,
the
no
pitchers
front
were,
office.
right. No. All true. And front offices were turning a blind eye, as they often have in situations like this. Steroid era, another example, more egregious in certain respects. But ultimately, the pitchers were the ones making the choices to do it. And yeah, there were people behind it and people suggesting. I'm not going to dispute that one bit. It was going on. But, I mean, come on. That's where the play was. It's like guys stepping out. It's a little bit of a stretched analogy, but when guys were stepping out all the time and taking their time at the plate, ultimately that's their responsibility. It's not the coaches or anybody else's.
Yep.
That's my thing. I know we're going hard on this, but James Hoy after the game, the crew chief, saying it definitely wasn't rosin. I don't necessarily disagree. I don't know. He's the only one that gets to feel the hands and know. But I'm like, it's kind of throwing an accusation out there. And also the sticky conversation has been shown and demoed that you can make your hands sticky as hell just with rosin and sweat. That's why, for me, I'm understanding this case more because we're talking to multiple players a day and they're saying the same things over and over. So I don't know. That's the part that drives me nuts.
The accusation by Hoy, well, when he ejects him, that's the accusation. So that's his explanation for the accusation, effectively. And again, I'm not suggesting that there aren't alternate points here that are very fair. And there's a discussion to be had. There is. There's no question there's a discussion to be had. And maybe there's a balance that can be reached between using spin rates to some effect, using umpire's judgment to some combination. It gets complicated, I know. But the league needs to keep looking at this and needs to keep refining its methods of enforcement.
Let's jump to some fan questions, because it actually, the first one that I saw that stood out ties right into some writing you did recently on the National League West still being run by the Dodgers. So this one is from Suzanne. Are the Padres the biggest disappointment of 2023? And I'll double down here because I watched half of yesterday's game when I got home, Padres Royals, and I'm like, what? It's the same thing over and over in this series. There's walks, there's bad base running, there's not delivering with runners in scoring position, and it happens. Everyone has a bad series, but it's getting late early or whatever you want to call it. Not for them to be a playoff team, but for them to take the division. So what did you write about, and what are your thoughts there?
First of all, they just lost 2 of 3 to the Royals at home. The Royals, arguably the second worst team in the majors, ahead of only the A's. So that tells you all you need to know. They have not been able to get it going. Runners in scoring position, horrible. The offense, which we all thought would be so great, not so great. Now we have Manny with a potential injury. A lot going wrong there. And are they the biggest disappointment of 2023? Until last night, I might have said the Mets, but the Mets win last night was so potentially transformative that I'll take them out of this discussion until I see more. I know they're playing the Rays right now. The Padres, what I wrote is that this is a team that has been slapped together. It is not a team where you see a particularly coherent roster construction. There are stars. It's a top-heavy roster. There's not much of a bottom of the lineup. Depth is not great. The pitching, both starting and relief, there are questions all over the place. So while, yes, it's a fun team because of the great players that they have, it's not necessarily a cohesive team. And I know a lot of fans reacted, Padres fans, by saying, it's all baloney. If they start hitting, everything will be fine. True. Everything will be fine if that happens. And it probably will happen. But you look at the team just to the north, the Dodgers, and the way they are constructed with far many more homegrown players, with guys who have been there a while that weren't necessarily homegrown, but played on World Series teams, Chris Taylor, Max Muncy, those types of guys. And there's a winning culture. It's been a winning culture for a decade now. The Padres don't have that. And I know they had a great year last year. They went to the National League Championship Series. A.J. Preller is great at identifying talent and acquiring talent. But he is yet to put together this kind of team that you can say, wow, that's a team. And that's the difference between the Padres and the Dodgers. Now, ultimately, and I wrote this, the Padres might just out-talent everybody, and more power to them. But we're not seeing it. And the things that I'm talking about, things that cannot be measured, are part of it. And you can say this, that, and the other thing, but this stuff, and you guys know this because you played, Eric and AJ, the cohesion of a team, the chemistry of a team having a certain identity, that stuff does matter.
It absolutely matters. Which leads me to my next question. You mentioned the Mets. The Padres, I don't know, the Dodgers are just better for some reason. You can look at the talent and say the Padres should be better, but the Dodgers are. And you can't explain it. But for me, for the Mets, we've talked about the last few days, Buck Showalter loves veterans. We kind of know that, right? They call up Vientos. He hits a home run for him, a huge home run for him last night. Will they call up some of these kids and give them an actual chance? Alvarez hit the 3-run homer last night late in the game. Then obviously Alonso hit the walk-off. But Vientos and Alvarez were the two that got him there. When will the Mets make a change and bring up some of their young guys for an energy source and then say, okay, now we have more of a homegrown, tight-knit group of people, kind of like what you're saying about the Dodgers and the Padres?
AJ, I think it's happening. And they've been playing Beatty and Alvarez regularly. Alvarez last night, his biggest moment as a Met, that game-tying home run. He has drawn rave reviews for his catching, which was, of course, the biggest question. You watch him, you watch his body language, he certainly seems to care a lot. So they've got two pieces right there. Vientos is a little bit different because it's tougher to fit him in positionally. He's not a great defender anywhere, but they brought him up yesterday. He hit a big home, the first one to tie the score in the 7th inning. So the only one missing now is Mauricio, and who knows, he could be here soon. And to get back to the Padres point, bringing up these three guys that the Mets have, that's something the Padres can't do. They've traded everybody. Now, those trades have been fun. They've gotten them great players, but there's something missing there that you don't have. You don't have the ability to go down and get that young talent that the Mets can do, that the Dodgers are getting with Outman and Vargas and some of their players that you see all over the league, the Orioles, all kinds of teams, the Red Sox last night with Bayo. So that is one thing that I think the Mets are actually on the right track with. They don't have young pitching. And what they've done or tried to do is spend on free agents, particularly on the pitching end, until they can get some young pitching that is at the level that they need. They haven't really succeeded in any aspect of that so far. But in terms of bringing up the young position players, they're doing that. They're incorporating them, and those guys are succeeding.
Ken, the Padres, and we're harping on the Padres today, which is fine because, again, you lose 2 out of 3 to the Royals. You kind of get what you get, especially at home. What's their clubhouse like? We had a whole thing with the Mets. Who's their leader in their clubhouse? Who's the leader of that team? Is it Manny? Is it Fernando? Is it Bogarts, who's new? Who's the leader? And is there any clubhouse? Because I've heard some conversations about some things there that maybe they're not the most cohesive unit. Now, I'm not saying it's true. I don't know because, again, I'm not there. But who's the leader and what's it like every day on that clubhouse?
I would say, at least according to what I've heard, that the idea that the Padres aren't getting along, that the four big stars don't like each other, these are things I've heard too. I asked that pretty directly last weekend to somebody involved and was told categorically that's not the case. That yes, you'll have some normal frictions, normal jealousies, but it's not like these players all hate each other. That's not the case at all. Who is the leader? Probably a better question, but Manny is certainly the centerpiece of this team in a couple of different ways. Contractually, certainly he's got the biggest deal, and also he plays every day. Now, he's got this question after the injury yesterday, but Manny's biggest attribute, and the one he gets no credit for, is his durability. He is neck and neck with Goldschmidt for games played since the start of 2015. That, to me, is a measure of leadership in its own right. Now, is he the perfect vocal guy? I don't know that he's that. He is who he is, but he has grown as a player quite a bit. He is much more mature. I think he'll always have some degree of moodiness. That's just who he is. But I don't know that leadership is the problem. I don't know what the problem is. But, guys, we know this. When a team doesn't have it can be apparent at times. And sometimes it's a team that's not hitting, and when a team is not hitting, they never look good. And that's certainly part of it with the Padres. But I still question the culture there. And there is not this history of winning. There's not these built-in traditions that have been established there over the years, as there have been with the Dodgers. Part of that's because this is an upstart team. We get that. We understand. But at some point, the Padres have to build that. They have to get to that. And the way they're constructed, it's not that easy.
I totally get it. I don't remember now, 2012 or 2013, one of those, the Tigers. I'd never covered a team and been in there for the playoffs and been around them and talking to the guys. That was the one that got swept by the Orioles in those 3 games. Remember? It was Scherzer, Price, Verlander. And it was like Miggy and young JD Martinez, Castellanos, etc. But I get it. I get the it factor part. Ken, awesome catching up. Appreciate the time. And we'll plug Fair Territory on the back end, but let you go. Enjoy the weekend. Where are you going?
Going to St. Louis for the Dodgers one more time. And
There we go.
Actually, I'm quite interested to see the Cardinals, who seem to be riding the ship a little bit. The way they played in Boston and then just winning 2 of 3 from Milwaukee.
Yeah, they turned it around fast. Ken, enjoy the series. We'll talk to you next week.
Ken,
What?
I'm sorry, but
guys.
I think my game goes to more than yours does this weekend, so I'm sorry.
Oh,
AJ, I'm not keeping score, man.
he is.
I know. It's just it doesn't happen very often, so I'm proud when it does.
You get the map. And
Yes, they give us the map, and Seattle, Atlanta, for some reason, is a bigger matchup than the Dodgers. I don't know why, but I'm happy.
the Atlanta.
I think it's
Great.
51% to 49% of the country.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Good for you. You get the win.
I'll wear a
Ken
bow
wins the
tie
rest.
for Ken.
See you, Ken.
Thanks, guys.
So Fair Territory is every single week on YouTube and on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, the whole deal. So yeah, if you want to watch it, it's on YouTube. It's got its own playlist, its own rack set up on Foul Territory's YouTube channel. Or if you're listening, just type in Fair Territory. We also put it up on Foul Territory as well, but on Fair Territory, you can catch that right there if you type it in. And once a week, Ken runs through all of this. So, it's been a busy week.
Is there anybody in the game that knows more people than Ken?
No.
More sources, more. And the thing about Ken is, I know when I was a player, he'd be annoying sometimes, and I'd tell him this because he'd get his nose on, he'd just get a sniff of a story, and he's like, and he'd just start texting you. And he just wouldn't stop. He's like, we used to call him like a Rottweiler. He just, I'm like, dude, like when I get the answer, I'll give you the answer. Just let me, you don't need to text me 12 times a day. But
Yeah,
that was Ken. No, that was him. But he didn't do it. But it didn't, yes. But he didn't do it in a way that where you were like annoyed with it or get angry with it and just be like, stop, Ken. It was always, hey, I'm hearing this. And he'll say like, oh, I'm hearing, and you'd be like, oh, I haven't heard that, but I'll check into it. And then the next day it's like, did you get anything else on it? I also heard this. And you're like, well, I haven't heard quite that. And then, But he knew.
He's good.
He's good. He's
Over.
good. And people
Remember I did
respect
the
him.
over-under the other day? I'd say over-under 399.5 players, managers, front office.
I'm taking the
members.
over.
Oh, I'm taking
taking
over
the
in
over.
Ken's phone.
Yeah,
Oh, yeah.
he's probably got like a few thousand.
Oh,
So
he's got everybody.
He knows.
He's
what
a
talking
hustler.
about. He is a hustler, and you just when he talks, you listen. That's why we love having him on the
Because
squad.
he knows everything, too. I mean, well,
But he talks in facts too. He's not.
Yes.
He's not surmising, and he's not. But he's not mincing his words. Like, well, I don't know. He doesn't give the veteran answer. He's like, I wouldn't go there because I don't have the information. Like he's pro, and that's why I think players really respect him. And I'm assuming front office and GMs and managers, all those guys respect him.
There's been many times where he's come to me and asked me something, and I've given him the answer, and he's like, I can't go with that. And I'm like,
Yeah.
well, I'm telling you, this is happening. And he'll say, well, I got to get like 3 sources. I'm like, well, you're never going to get 3 sources. You have the source. It's me. I'm giving it to you. This is what's going to happen because you hear things.
I know.
In the clubhouse. You know
But
what's
he
going
goes
on.
by the
But
journalistic
then,
rules.
yes, and that's the other thing is he has integrity that is
Dude's
spot
a
on.
grinder. He's in Kratz's grinder category.
100%. He worked
All right,
in
so-
Baltimore. He's got street cred for sure.
Hell yeah.
Ken, and by the way, Ken, I'm taking it all back because I don't want you to think that I like you, so we're going to edit this all out.
We're gonna take this
Oh,
out.
listen to you. 'Cause
Just
you have,
kidding.
We're gonna MLB Oakland A's scrub it out.
I love Ken. Ken knows. I love Ken and I are. I love Ken. He's a
Hey,
good guy.
I want to preview some matchups. Okay, so last minute game time for my friends at Gametime. Go grab the app, hit FT Live. If you're a new customer, $20 off your first ticket purchase. Terms apply. Get after it. So I'm gonna do it a little bit differently for tonight because it's a really light slate. I'm giving you the option. Last minute, okay? You're either flying up to Toronto or I'm shipping you to St. Louis. You want Yankees, Blue Jays, Cortez, and Barrios to finish off the series, or do you want Julio Urias against Adam Wainwright, a fresh series starting with the Dodgers and the Cardinals?
I want the Cardinals Dodgers.
Okay.
I want to see what Wainwright does. He was hurt and he hasn't gotten off to a great start this year, so I want to see how he pitches against a really good team. The Dodgers are hot as fire right now, so I want to see how he does. And the Cardinals are playing really well. They took 2 out of 3 from the Brewers. They're swinging the bat, and Urias has been good. He's been kind of back to what we expect from Julio Urias. So that's the game for me. Blue Jays, Yankees. It played out by now. Let's move on.
4-game set is too long for AJ. No,
Yeah.
I want to go to the Cardinals game too. Like you get to see somebody on the retirement tour. Get to see Waino pitch on the retirement tour. I'd circle that on my calendar, and it's an easy flight out to St. Louis.
I'm still going to Toronto because nothing happened, quote, nothing happened last night, so something else is going to happen tonight.
You're expecting it?
Yeah, and I don't want to
Expecting
miss
fireworks?
that. I don't want to miss that. Like if I missed 2 days ago and I had the chance, I'd be pissed. So
Here's the question I have though. Yes, last night was a great pitcher's duel up there in Toronto. Could some of it have been because of like what had happened the game before? Like, hey, get back in your box. Like you might be relaying something.
No, absolutely not. Just 2 good guys, 2 dudes that were on top of their game. Cole and Bassett were dealing. There's no get back in your box. There was no this or that. There was
good pitching.
It was good pitching. And also, did you see what St. Louis had in their dugout last night?
The burger phone?
Where they it's like this, it's a burger, and they open it when they think someone's going to hit a home run. And Adam Wainwright opened it right before Paul DeYoung hit a homer.
I saw it. Yep.
It's kind of cool.
That's good prop.
I like it.
Yeah, it's good prop. It's
prop.
good chrome, good piece of chrome.
That's
Keeps
not
you-
chrome. That's a prop.
No, it
Okay.
keeps you very locked in on the game because you want to be the guy that calls the home run within your squad, right?
That's the it.
That's the it factor. You're right. They've got it again. Okay.
Oh.
So
They
Last
found
week
it.
they didn't have it.
no.
All it took was them to sit Wilson Contreras for like 10 days. You're just going to DH. Hey, you're back in. Guess what? Now we're happy. One big happy family.
whatever.
No,
Maybe the
Leonardo's
Padres
got
need to-
6 homers.
True. Maybe the Padres need to take somebody and say, hey,
They
Manny, you're sitting for 10 days. You're
He's
not our
sitting.
third baseman.
He is sitting. He got hit by a pitch on Monday. He fractured a part of his hand. He actually might sit for a week and a half.
I'm just
I
saying.
know,
I'm just
I know.
using Manny as an example because he's the one that Ken said plays every day,
Yes.
right? But yes, it's
And Juan Soto's
Weird.
hot right now, so you can't sit him.
No.
yes.
Hey, game time. Get after it. FT Live's the promo code. If you hit the app, number one, it's easy to find and buy tickets for any kind of event that's in your area. You get images of seat views. You get the 360 view. If you click in, you've got the hot deals. You've got the fastest growing ticketing app in the country for a reason. That's why we're friends. We truly believe in what's going on there. We've all got the app. We're involved. You don't have to worry about planning, because I'm actually terrible with this nowadays. I can't put a calendar together. So I just go, oh, shit, I can hit a game on a Friday night. And I fly into this, 2 taps, and you're set. You buy tickets in a matter of seconds. It's that easy. They're sent directly to your phone. You never have to dig through email. This is just the modern way to buy tickets. So snag the tickets without the stress with Gametime. Download the Gametime app, create an account, use code FTLive, $20 off your first purchase. Terms apply. Again, just you create the account, you go to the account section, it says redeem code FTLive, $20 off. Be part of the fam. Download Gametime today. Last minute tickets, lowest price guaranteed. Okay, next up, we've got guests joining us from baseballconnect.com, the co-founders, Mike Tampellini and Dan Kaplan. Dan works on the staff for the Seattle Mariners, and he's worked in player development and baseball ops for the Phillies, the Nats, and the Astros in his career. And Mike's experience in baseball ranges from working within player development for Driveline Baseball. He went to Driveline, the famous line, the Phillies, the Astros, and in the replay operations center at Major League Baseball. Dan and Mike, great to have you both on. Appreciate the time and excited to get into a little bit of like analytics versus real life conversation. How you guys doing? And one of you can raise your hand and start first and not only respond, but just give me the lowdown of what you guys are working on that's very innovative in the baseball world.
Yeah, absolutely. What's up, guys? Great to meet you. Appreciate you guys having us on. Scott, we had a great conversation a couple weeks back. Love what you guys are doing with the show, for real. Like, thanks for not only bringing us on, but just doing what you guys are doing. Like, I think there's such an appetite in the industry for just baseball people talking about baseball. There's so much going on in the industry, and the way guys talk in the clubhouse and the way teams handle these things, you guys are just doing a great job crushing it. So appreciate it. Happy to be here. What we're doing. So like you said, thanks for the intro. I work on the staff for the Seattle Mariners. I've spent my whole career working in PD, player development for different baseball teams. Kratz, AJ, I know you guys have been with different teams. So there's a lot of lessons you can learn working with different teams and how they implement information technology, all the things that are kind of buzzwords nowadays. So what Baseball Connect is, a company that Mike here and I created, was we started working together in player development for a lot of these minor league teams together. And as baseball is just growing, there's new tech thrown into development every other week, it seems like now. We noticed that there was just like a big gap between like how are players supposed to really get their hands on this and learn it when they're being asked to implement it in their everyday process. You know, catchers meetings, how we evaluate hitters that are coming up that we're facing that night. Teams are evaluating these players differently every day. And so many people are trying to get into the industry as a player, as a coach, even fans just trying to watch it on MLB Network or different TV channels, right? Like they're talking about all these metrics. How do I get my hands on it and learn it? So Mike and I created Baseball Connect. It's a totally free website. We have over 90 videos that we created from our experience working in pro ball, working with the players, actually teaching them how to use this information to get better. And we've made our website where you can look up baseball ops, PD, scouting, analytics, whatever it is you want to learn more about. It's just readily available. Before you'd have to dig through all these articles and algorithms, and like, we are not those guys. We are like, hey, how do you make this actionable? How do you make it better for you? So that's what we've created.
Absolutely. I love it. And so give us an example of a video that you think would be helpful that these guys would like to break down.
Yeah, absolutely. So, I mean, we've sent you guys over, we have a photo about hard hit percentage, right? So you guys in your careers, I'm sure, have gone maybe 0 for 10, 0 for 15. And we don't like it when that happens, but not every 0 for 10 or 0 for 15 is the same, right?
Yes, it is.
So here's a graph.
Yes, it is.
Yeah.
Yes, it is.
Yes, it is.
Yes,
Fair
it
enough.
is. I don't
Fair
care how
enough,
hard
but
I'm hitting the ball. If it's not a hit, I don't care.
Okay.
So go continue
That's
now,
fair.
but now that's the player side of it. Go ahead.
That's what we're here to do, man, is say, hey, like, we're going to sit you down. It's like, don't panic. Don't hit panic button. Are you struggling or are you just getting unlucky right now? Because players might worry, oh, maybe you're a minor league player, right? Am I going to get called up from AA to AAA? I'm 0 for 10. Well, you're 0 for 10, but if you've hit the ball 110 miles an hour and you just got out, I'm not going to knock you for that. That's how teams are evaluating these players. And I think a lot of fans or even current players aren't really aware of that. So like the whole batting average, like those things are important, but we're also here trying to shed a light on like, what are we really digging our claws into when we're saying, is AJ ready for the call up? Because if you're hitting 110 just straight barrel city, but you're just getting out, I'm not going to knock you for that. I'm still going to call you up. You're tearing the cover off the ball. So with our videos, our visuals, we're trying to kind of teach those ways of teams interpreting information and how it's going to help the player take that next level. So I hear you. 0 for 10 sucks, but some are better than others. I'll die on that hill.
Okay, so you work for the Mariners. Julio Rodriguez is 0 for 15. I want you to go up to him when he's 0 for 15 and say, it's okay, Julio. You're hitting the ball hard. And if he doesn't get angry or say, screw off, Dave, then I would be shocked.
Because I disagree with you hard on this.
Dude, because if I'm
Paul Goldschmidt talks about this all the time when he gets cold. He's like, my swing decisions are good. My quality of contact's good. It's a few freaking games. And then he rakes for 3 more months.
Yeah, but trust me, it eats
I think you should be pissed. I would be mad. I mean, I go 0 for 10, I go for 15. I'd be throwing my bat. But I think the difference is like, don't panic. Don't change anything, right? It's like the future at bats, you don't want to change your approach or change your swing because you actually did succeed in hitting the shit out of the ball, but unfortunately it got caught like 10 times or whatever happened. That's how I interpret it.
Mike, I agree with that. But at the same time, as a former player, I'd want somebody to come to me, a hitting coach, and change something. And I'm not saying major, but I would tell the hitting coach, hey, if I'm 0 for 10, make something up. Just say, hey, dude, you're pulling your head off. Oh, okay, well, I'll think about keeping my head down. It gives me different thoughts than, dude, I'm 0 for 15. I'm hitting piss rods at everybody. And they're catching it. Well, I'm not unlucky. I'm just pulling my head, so I'm going to keep my head in there. Oh, I break my bat and I get a knock. It's 42 exit velocity, but you know what? That's a knock. Here we go again.
Yeah, and listen, AJ, like, go ahead, Kratz. You got something?
No, I was just going to say, like, there's the other side of that, too. Nobody in the Seattle Mariners organization is going to let you come up to Julio Rodriguez and be like, hey, Julio, you're 10 for 15, but you're absolutely swinging a wet newspaper.
Right. If it ain't broke, don't fix it. You know what I mean? And AJ, to your point, right, like the beautiful thing about baseball, right, and what we're all about, too, is it works different for everybody. Everybody's got their one thing that helps them out the most. Some guys, like you, want to get told, hey, let's work on, keeping your head down or eye on the target. Or some guys are like, hey, as long as I'm tearing the cover off the ball and you like what you're seeing, I'm good. And, that's the beautiful thing about baseball is you learn however you want to learn. Some guys are huge video guys, right? They're coming in the video room, they're checking tape every game, looking at the minute things in their swing. Some guys don't want to look at a video unless maybe they're 0 for 15. We just want to add to the industry with, hey, if you do decide that you want to learn something, just check this out. It's a 2-minute free video. You don't need to sit down and have something explained to you and all this algorithmic conversation. Like a lot of guys are visual learners. So our whole thing is, hey, you know what works for you. AJ, you had an amazing big league career. Credit to you. Like a lot of what you're doing obviously works. If you decide you want to do something different, here's a tool that you can have just in your back pocket.
I like
it because, listen, sorry, go ahead, Kratzy.
No, I was just going to say, how do you deal with the kids who are soft then? They're like, hey, my exit velocity's been 95. They pick and choose different things. Like, oh, man, my exit velocity's 3rd in the league. They see it on the scoreboard. Like, I hit that 101. Yeah, but you keep hitting ground balls. Like, you keep it. Like, how do you deal with that? Do you go deeper or are you like, oh, yeah, you're good. Massage.
Yeah, it's a great question. And listen, we all know those guys, right? Every team has the guys that need to be kind of gassed up a little bit. And then every team has the guys that are like, tell me how it is. All I care about is getting better. And that's like, we use the word feel, right, in the locker room. Like, you got to have that feel. You got to know who you're talking to. And a lot of what we're trying to do is introduce that. Know who you're talking to and then have different strategies for how to get to that player. So future coaches, current coaches, players, like, learn how you like to get information. And then if you're a coach or a player, learn more about what that is so you can ask better questions. That's what we're trying to help do. So to answer your question, Kratzy, if a guy is saying, hey, I hit that, I crushed that ball, then I will go in and break it down. I'll say, okay, let's break down your last 100 at-bats or 50 at-bats, your month. you hit your average exit velo is this. So maybe you hit that one ball 105, but you're averaging 89 exit velo on all of your balls in play. That's not good enough. So there's ways to break down the analytics that we have videos for all of these things, the ground ball percentage, fly ball percentage, home run to fly ball ratios. Like that's where we can break it down and say, you kind of clap them on the ass, right? Hey, great job. You touched that ball, but we want you to do that every time. How do we do that? Let's break it down.
I like it because for me, it seems like a good way for someone like myself that's a little bit older that doesn't know all the stuff can go on this website and say, I want to know what BABIP is, or I want to know what xERA is, or barrel percentage, or whatever the things are, and I can get it quickly, and it'll tell me so that I can teach these kids. I honestly wish this was around more when I was playing, because I think some of this stuff is good, meaning like, okay, your last 100 at bats, your exit velo was 95, but the hits, your exit velo was 97, and your launch angle was this, and your swing was more this way. And I think that would have helped a lot more people. Instead, we're in there looking, okay, well, instead of my hands being here, my hands were an inch higher. And you're like, well, that doesn't really feel that different. But it made a difference in maybe your swing path or your launch angle or whatever it is that you want to look at. And I think these tools are very valuable, not only for players, but also for organizations with minor league guys. And even if you can get lower, but most teams don't have the analytics when you get to high school and lower. Fortunately, First Academy, we have them.
See, 10 minutes later, you already changed AJ. He's already converted. I figured,
win.
Dan, we talked about this. I mean, I figured you're rewarding smart players that do their homework. And AJ knows the freaking game. So this helps. And I don't know if we want to show, one of the others like pitch movement, a barrel, just to help tell the story here, again, of what you guys have going on. But this is exactly what guys can use without getting like overstuffed with information. Right. So guide us through one more for AJ that he might be into here.
Yeah, go for it.
And
Mike.
Kratz. Sorry, Kratz. I know you caught too. I'm just sitting next to AJ.
You're good.
Yeah. So what we're looking at here is a typical X and Y plot. And for someone who's like not mathematical at all, it might be like overwhelming to look at. But what we're doing here is we're trying to look at pitch movement and normalize it and like take out location. So we just want to know the raw movement value. So we're looking at induced vertical movement, which is like up and down. It's how much it rides or how much lift it has, and also containing how much does it break? Does it break left or does it break right? So we use X and Y plots, whether it's through TrackMan or Rapsodo data or Hawkeye, to give us better descriptors about how our pitches move and ultimately try to figure out like why they move the way they do. We talk about Devin Williams' changeup, his air bending changeup, or Mariano Rivera cutter. We could look at where these pitches fall on the X and Y plot to determine why they're outliers, why are they so effective, and compare that to like the MLB average. If we understand that, then that's starting to build like that foundation for understanding like a player's pitch arsenal and determine why he's really effective.
So if I send you guys, we have Yacker Tech in my kid's high school. If I send you our Yacker Tech info, you guys break it down for me, because we have all this information and I'm like, what the heck does all this stuff? And there's 100%. All these charts.
100%, AJ.
This is what they do.
I know that, but I'm just making sure they say it on the air so that when I see Dave on Saturday in Atlanta and I bring all this information to him, he can't say, I never said that. Now we have it on. We have it filmed.
You got my word, AJ. Okay. We'll break that down for you. That's what we do, like Scott said. So
great.
It's awesome.
So what is the one? And I've asked this. We've had analytics guys on before. What is the one thing? Like I help coach a high school. Kratz helps coach high school kids. When you're looking at this information, we're fortunate enough to have a Yacker Tech. We get all the information. What's for a pitcher and for a hitter? What exit velocity? I'm assuming for a hitter. And for a pitcher, is it velo? Is it horizontal movement, vertical spin? Because basically, I feel like the pitching stuff is way more advanced than hitter stuff. Hitter is just how hard and how high do you hit it and all that stuff. So for pitchers and hitters, what are the one thing you should look for?
Yeah, I love that question. And especially for like, we're talking about youth baseball, right? I think develop it for a pitcher. I think developing that skill of just throwing strikes, like throwing strikes is a skill. Now, as you develop as a player and get to have more talent and spin the ball more and throw it harder, then we can talk about pitch shapes, like using the graphic we just had up. Where do your pitches fall on the horizontal, vertical part? But when you're a middle school player or a high school player, develop, here's a great graphic that we have of spin efficiency, right? This is also a great point that you can work on, when a player is younger. Being able to really backspin a ball, learning how to top spin a ball. What does that feel like? Developing those sort of innate just feels of, I really got that out front, and I can locate it and throw it for a strike. Start there, and then we can move on. Now, for a hitter, exactly. I think really exit velo is like the simplest thing, the lowest hanging fruit. We talk about lowest hanging fruit in pro ball all the time, right? What can you quickly grab hold of and get better at right away? And using different training methods or a heavier bat, or there's tons of stuff out there it's super easy to measure as well. So hitting the ball hard is just a net good thing.
And I even think at like a young age, sorry to jump in here, is like,
no, go ahead.
Once you understand like what's important, you have to repeat those skills, repeating the spin, repeating location, as Dan said, and repeating your swing. I mean, these are all like old school mechanical things we've all talked about when we were younger, but they also can be measured through all the technology that we have nowadays, whether it's just a pitch radar or a TrackMan or a YakerTech, like you said, AJ. I mean, there's so many tools now. So it's like sticking to the basics, understanding those, and then repeating that skill over and over again, and then iterating and improving from there.
I'll finish on this note to play to the point of some of this conversation. Toasty, who's in our chat every day, goes, Ohtani hit baseballs of 94, 98, a hundo, 90, 102 yesterday, and went 0 for 4. Homer today, first AB. Not that he needs any encouragement, but he was hitting the baseball hard yesterday.
I feel sorry for him.
I know you do.
Yeah, great example of like probably the best player in the world. But like, is anyone on the Angels staff panicking that he went 0 for 4? No, he's hitting the ball at an elite level. So it's really what we're all about is changing that mindset, right? Like, guy went 0 for 4. Is something wrong? No, nothing's wrong. How do we know? Let's look at the information. And if you don't know what that would look like, you can watch our videos for free. Check it out. It's just giving players, coaches, fans the information right at your fingertips to just learn more of how to enjoy the game as it's not going to stop evolving. So we just want to be a group that can help you guys learn.
Love what you guys are doing. Baseball-connect.com. Appreciate you guys. Great to have you on. Thanks for the insight and for changing AJ in like 15 minutes time.
That's a
win.
win.
Not Ozzie Guillen, okay?
Thank you guys so much. Really,
thanks, boys. Take care. Right?
Appreciate you. You too. See, that's good stuff. And I really like their graphics, like especially the fastball curve, changeup, spins there. I'm saying for youth.
I do too.
It's gotta be simple.
And you were. Well, I'm going to see Dan on.
You were doing.
I'm going to see Dan on Saturday, and I'm going to hit him up.
Yeah.
When I see Seattle, I'm going to find him wherever he is. But they were talking about backspinning a fastball, right?
Mm-hmm.
So you want to you want it to come out. That's how you rip it down. Well, then people were talking about Herman, sticky stuff. What does sticky stuff do? It makes your fingers stick to the ball. So therefore, when you rip it down, it rips it more, and therefore it backspins more, and it stays truer and doesn't fall. That's where you see. That's the things. And then on a curveball, you're able to rip it down to spin like this instead of fastball spins this way, for curveball spins the other way. And if your fingers are stickier, guess what you can do? Or four-seamer down, and it rips off this way. That's why they said when there was spider tack, you could hear the ball leaving guys' hands. You could hear it going because they were just literally almost ripping the skin off their fingers.
Yeah, and that's what you've been doing. I mean, you perfectly set me up here for our friends at Tyrus. Yes, because
they have
we have
sticky stuff.
We have a nice little clip we put together. AJ out on the field. So our friends at Tyrus Baseball, a little demo from AJ, one of our first demos on the show, but I'm holding some thick and sticky pine tar, leather balm, premium tar gel. Let's let AJ take it away on the field. This is what he did the other day with some of Tyrus's finest products.
Brzezinski here, Foul Territory podcast, YouTube show, here for Tyrus Baseball. Not only to show off their bats, this is shiny, but also to show off their wonderful range of products and to teach you how to put proper pine tar on your bat. Now, people say, why don't you just use a stick? Well, I'll tell you why. One, you put a stick on and see how it is. Some people think it gets too sticky, right? Plus, you'll see when we put pine tar on these other Tyrus bats, it looks way cooler when you have the ring of pine tar around. Now I use the stick a lot, but I also mixed in pine tar whenever I was feeling to mix it up, or I just like the cooler look. So today we have both the pine tars. We have the thick and sticky Tyrus pine tar right here. I'm gonna show you how thick and sticky it is. The lid won't even come off. Watch this. The other option, a regular gel, Tyrus pine tar gel. It's like soup. It pours out nicely right into the rag. So how do you do this? Take a rag, pine tar, Tyrus pine tar rag. We've already pre-done this one, preconditioned it so you know. Take it out, use the applicator, scoop out some Tyrus thick and sticky, just like this. But you want to go horizontal to spread it out. Then you take the bat, put it in the middle, couple nice circles, you get the nice ring. See the nice ring of pine tar? If you like, take some rosin, dab it up a little bit, stands out even more nicely. Like this, you get that nice stickiness however you want it. Ready to go. Thanks to those two great models too, by the way.
Oh, they were perfect. That was great. Shop at TyrusBaseball.com. You'll find high-quality Tyrus maple bats, pine tar, grip sticks, rosin bags, and other accessories. The pros know Tyrus. Do you? A few people told me the other day, you guys say the word sticky stuff a lot. I'm like, yeah, it's a big topic. We're bringing on the conversations that players are talking about in the clubhouse. Comes up all the time. Louis, by the way, said, "Oh, Professor Pazinski."
Well, hopefully my kid was one of those models, and then another player at First Academy. I recruited him, and I overpaid him for that.
Overpaid him for that?
Yeah, I bought him water.
Oh, is that allowed?
He has no more amateur eligibility. He's got to go pro now.
Oh, darn.
That was good stuff.
No, it was great. It was fun doing that because, honestly, when you think about it as a former player, those things are all made for you. Like the pine tar rag and everything is there, and you just don't really think about it because the clubhouse guys. But then to actually sit down and say, okay, this is how they do it. This is what it's supposed to look like. It was fun. And then you see how thick, gosh, that thick and sticky was thick and sticky.
Yes.
Perfect description. And it makes it. And then if you have the lighter colored bat, the ring, and then you get it on your shoulder and you think, oh, it looks so cool. I have chrome. Does that count as chrome? I have chrome on my shirt.
Yes.
Okay.
That's one chrome piece, right?
It is if you never use the pine tar. If there's chrome on your bat, if there's pine tar on your bat, but you never touch it, it's like the dudes that put it on their helmet, but they never touch their helmet. They just put it on and that's it. Chrome.
Yeah.
Because some of those guys have the perfect ring.
Yeah, they don't ever touch it.
And the thing, I've seen guys make that perfect ring, and they literally sit there with the pine tar and the rag, and it takes like days.
Players will do that?
Players to get it right, to get the perfect ring on their bat, just how they want it to look. And it takes days of putting on pine tar. And
They tape it so that it has a nice line, and then you got a pine tar, and then Cano, he had a perfect line. And it was like you dab it on, or you'd get it on there, rosin, and it would take a long time. You have your bats lined up.
What did I
I'd
say?
get fired before all my bats would be done.
Look good, play good. Just
Yeah.
saying. Look good, play good. Let's make some plays. We don't have a lot to choose from tonight, but it is time for your Thursday locks presented by BetMGM. And a reminder, we will be at the Borgata in Atlantic City tomorrow, Friday, live show. Be there or just watch us from a different location. It's going to be great putting our tech team behind the scenes to work. Just going to glide right past the Mariners getting smacked last night by the Red Sox. Red Sox can score. They can put up runs, and you didn't hit. You hit one, right?
No, Evaldi was 6 and 5, and Strider was 7. First time all year Strider
Wow,
hasn't
you
struck
fell
out.
one short on each?
So it's first time all year Strider hasn't punched out at least 8 all year.
Damn.
And Evaldi 7 innings, 5, I think. So
Stop following the numbers, AJ. Jeez.
Jeez, right? I know.
Let's not bury the lead. Kratz
Kratz
picks up
won.
a dub.
And Kratz was rooting against the Yankees. Let's also not forget to add that in there because he admitted it.
Yep, 2 for 4. What's the score?
Money bags.
Happy hit guy.
Whew.
12 and 14, AJ. 10
I
and
know,
22.
gosh, I was
Kratzy
right
back
there.
under
I was
the back under the Mendoza line. I don't know what you call it. and I'm at 21-14, carrying a pretty solid record into our first Borgata appearance. And for tonight, your Thursday locks presented by BetMGM. You have 2 games to choose from. Kratzy, where are you going?
I'm going yes run. Yes run. Follow me. Yes run in the first inning with the Cardinals Dodgers. This is just glaring. The Cardinals at home in the first inning, 337, 404, and 641 versus lefties, almost identical triple slash. And then the Dodgers in the first inning are 288, 384, and 592, all in the first inning against right-handed pitchers. I'm going to see at least a run.
Okay. I like it.
Right.
I like it.
$1 million. I'm gambling.
I like it. I mean, mine kind of plays off of that.
Yours is long. Yours has a lot of words on it.
It does. Yes. So I went Yankees, Jays over 7.5 runs. And you're like, wait, but their line's at 9. Yeah, I'm doing a parlay, right? So I think it was like minus 165-ish, which obviously is steep. But I do think we'll get some scoring, right, after a pretty lockdown night last night, right? We went to extra scoreless, and the Jays got some runs. It's like, you take a breath. All right, no more Cole and Bassett. We've got Nestor Cortez going up against Barrios. Barrios could give that up alone. He is like complete roller coaster action. So feel like I'm in good shape there. And then I went to the Dodgers-Cardinals game where I'm like, all right, that's my only other matchup tonight. And I just went 4.5, which I think was like minus like 500, something like that. But that got me down to a 128 mark. So I'm minus 128. So, and for Dodgers Cardinals, again, it's like, I just don't think Waino and Urias are going to be matching each other going deep into the game. So 2 hot offenses, and I didn't want to rely on, I didn't know how to pick that game money line. I didn't want to rely on, maybe Waino has like one of these huge games. Urias could do that to you. So I feel pretty good at 5 runs there.
Okay. Understood.
I like it.
Thank you.
I went much simpler. 0-0 game. Nestor Cortez pitching in Toronto. He gives up over a hit an inning, over 5.5 hits for me. Nestor Cortez going to give up more than 5.5 hits. Like you said, I thought about Barrios, kind of doing the same thing because his numbers were very similar, but he has those starts where he just looks unhittable, and then he has starts where everyone gets a hit. But I just feel like looking at Nestor's numbers and how the Blue Jays are right-hand heavy, I feel like over 5.5, they're going to need him to go probably 6 innings. He gives up over a hit an inning. That puts him at 7. So I feel like 5.5 was a good number.
I wasn't the biggest believer in Kratz yesterday, but you got the job done. Hey, Toasty goes to Scott's point. Barrios, last 11 innings at home against the Yankees, 8 runs. We shall see.
But he also could go out there and go 9 shutty with 2 hits. You just don't know.
Especially with that changeup.
Yeah, but Cortez is actually the one where, as we talked to Trevino about, like he's been up and down as well. Definitely not the Cortez from last year.
No. He's got to get that leg swing right. Which leg kick are we going with?
Which one?
Shimmy shake. So it's bet 10, get a hundo instantly on BetMGM. If you use the promo code SPICYMLB, you sign up and deposit at least $10 into a newly created account. Download the BetMGM Sportsbook app on iOS or Android. Place a pregame moneyline wager of at least $10 on any MLB team to win at standard odds price, and you'll receive $100 in bonus bets instantly. If you sign up in Massachusetts or Ohio, it's $200 in bonus bets. Got to use the bonus code SPICYMLB. Ooh. And it's a light night. It's not. I know it's not easy. I understand that, right?
Mm-hmm.
It's a Thursday. You have 2 games to choose from, although they're both great games going on tonight. Yes. And there's daytime action right now, of course, that we've been mixing in there. And Trout homered, Ohtani homered. But what's the current score in Baltimore?
5-4 Baltimore.
5-4 Baltimore.
Were they favored for this game? Because that could make them 20-3 as favorites. I would assume they were favored.
They were the favorite.
Oh, well, they got a chance to go 20-3. They're Santander homered for him. I think Rushman got a big hit for him, maybe.
Rutschman's MVP odds keep going up and up. Obviously, it's kind of a one-horse race right now, but his MVP odds have just continually rose throughout the year. MGM's got him at like plus 1,500 now, which sounds like a lot. But
obviously you're talking about Ohtani being the favorite. My question is Judge just look how bad the Yankees were when Judge wasn't there. You want to put value on a player? Aaron Judge, when he was out for the Yankees, and now he's back and he's hitting and they're winning again. That's your valuable for me for the V in MVP.
You know who's maybe the most underrated player in the game right now?
Kyle Tucker?
No, Cano.
That dude strikes everybody out.
Nobody
The
gets
Orioles
on.
shutdown, dude.
Oh,
Just came out of
Whatever
nowhere.
that changeup thing he's throwing is filth.
Came out of nowhere.
By the way,
Yeneer is his name.
By the way, speaking of filth, Strider pitched yesterday. Braves day off today. He's maybe throwing a bullpen on Saturday. Braves calling you out. I want to stand in if he throws a bullpen on Saturday.
Braves people, can't you ask?
I'm going to ask Eddie Perez. I'll ask Snicker.
Text them today. Can you
going
text
to.
and just say,
Get it
does
done.
a pitcher care? Would he be okay with that? He's locked to a long-term deal. He's good at
He's going to throw a
got all the
bullpen.
swag in the world.
He's probably
Right.
going to throw a bullpen.
And
right?
other guys will do it sometimes. Will stand in, right? Even some managers will do it sometimes.
Pitching
and stand
coaches stand there.
in. Yeah. So can you do it?
If he hits me, can I charge him out?
Yeah, for sure.
If it doesn't happen, AJ's scared. That's the only reason it doesn't happen.
True.
Definitely can get this done.
Yes. Just
Definitely.
have someone take video. I want to see it.
I will find if I can get
Put
it
the
done,
GoPro on again.
And don't take
It
a
wasn't my
swing.
GoPro.
He can't
I'm
swing.
not going to swing. Gosh.
I know. Let's hit slap hands because we got something fun to do. Back to our guy. It's been a little bit. JS 9 innings. Gonna run by and throw some questions at you. So get prepared.
Oh, he's not in his dorm.
I know.
He's not in his dorm.
Wait.
School's
Look.
done.
And he's got a beard.
Let's go.
I got it. I brought it back.
Nice.
How are you guys?
Are you at mom and dad's house?
Yeah.
Is that a graduation picture of you behind you back there over your shoulder?
No, I have a lot of baseball items behind me. My dad and I like to collect a lot of like cards, just baseballs in general. We have a bunch of bobbleheads and all that, so it's pretty cool. Yeah.
All right.
Let's rip some questions because we're overtime. So give him one or two, and then he's got quick hitters that are just like yes, no, or pick a player. Go ahead. Run
What's
it.
your favorite baseball item you've saved or collected from your playing days?
Kratz, go ahead.
My World Series ring.
Yeah.
That'll play.
It's hard to beat that one.
Can't top that. Isn't that for you too then?
Yeah, I was going to say that or the mask I have in front of me. That's from Phil Humber's
that mask
perfect
is
game.
cool.
But not more than your World Series.
No, World Series is
That's
the
number
ultimate,
one.
of course.
I have
Mask
a
number two.
painted picture. Josh Hader and his wife painted a big 5-foot picture of me and him after we won the NLDS. It's me holding him as he jumped into my arms like a movie
Oh, I've
style.
seen that picture. Yeah.
Yeah.
I don't think
2018.
I've seen that. That needs to go up on Twitter again, please.
I'll show that, John.
Okay. What else you got?
But I do have a question for you, Kratz. As Gordon Beckham has a picture in his house of him and I running into each other when he was a rookie in the Metrodome, and I think he fell down, and his grandma got it painted, so he has to put it up in his house because his grandma got it for him.
Of him down?
Yes, and me standing over him looking like, hey, you little fellow, what are you doing down there trying to catch the pop-up?
That's great.
He probably puts it in
Kratz, is
the
that-
bathroom or the laundry room.
Is that your profile picture on Twitter?
No,
Hader?
that's me holding Mike Moustakis after we won the
Oh.
wild card game in 2014. It was a
Yeah,
bet
I haven't seen
with Moose. Yeah, it was a bet with Moose that he wouldn't do it. And anyway,
it. Gotcha.
JS, let's do quick hitters because you got to give me your three best for these guys. Pop quiz.
All right. So Kershaw's prime or DeGrom's prime?
Kershaw.
Okay, good. Pedro Martinez, Greg Maddux, Roger Clemens, or Randy Johnson?
Who do I want to hit off of, or who's the best?
Who's the best out of all of them?
Randy Johnson.
I was going to say Pedro. I faced all four of those guys, and
I
Pedro
didn't face any of them.
Oh. Craig Maddux, I was
He's a
like, couldn't
tough man to
wait to
play.
get to the bat rack.
Really?
Oh, he threw strikes.
Yeah.
I could hit him.
And then Fenway or Wrigley?
Fenway.
Depends on what
Oh,
we're looking
You're
for.
hitting a sore spot here for AJ.
Old Wrigley, before they redid it and put those scoreboards in the outfield, was awesome. New Fenway though is better than New Wrigley. So old Wrigley, new Fenway.
Gotcha.
I love Wrigley.
See, this is Kratz. See, Kratz didn't play in some of I played in Tiger Stadium, County Stadium, some of the old
Metrodome.
King Dome,
Metrodome.
Metrodome, lots of games. But old Wrigley was awesome before they put the big scoreboards and you could see everything. And then Fenway, I played there before they put the monster seats in and done all the renovations. And the new one is way better than obviously the old one. But,
of course.
But the old Wrigley was better than the new Wrigley for me.
I played in old Wrigley, but nothing compares to Fenway. I played in old Wrigley. I felt like nothing compares to Fenway.
Yankee Stadium changed.
Old Yankee Stadium was incredible too.
Old Yankee Stadium was a feeling.
Oh, you walked into that place, especially in the playoffs. You walked in there and you were like, "Oh boy."
Whoa, yeah, that feeling. It's different. You go to the ballpark now. I know what they had to do to change it, but it was special back then. Okay, so JS, you could stay on for this. Josh, I have one slap hands that I wanted to run through. Zach Gallen yesterday did his best Randy Johnson impression, and here it is. Oh, we have it in slow motion. Perfect. Watch the ball. That's a bird. Is the bird okay?
No, dead.
Yeah,
of course that happened in Oakland too.
That's not a.
Of course that was in Oakland.
Yeah, of course it was in Oakland.
Yeah, well, because Oakland has more animals in the ballpark than humans at this point. They're literally purposely doing everything they can to get you to not go.
Do you think Fisher had that bird and he was controlling it and said, "Get in front of the ball"? So Pito will yell at us.
Anything he can do. So, and then he can call. See, like they're killing animals in the ballpark now. Like anything that they can come up with. Like it is. Everyone says it. It's major league in real life.
Oh man,
it's wild right now.
Man.
All right, I want to plug a couple things before we jump. Obviously, we're going to be in AC tomorrow. Can't wait at the Borgata, Atlantic City for the international audience that's in South Jersey. But want to show our Legends Territory hit, and then Andrew Jones is on this week. It's up on YouTube podcast. He promoted it this morning. AJ and I had a cool conversation with him, and I'll just say this: I would hit a subscribe on that on YouTube and or podcast, because there are some episodes coming up that if you don't see them pop up for yourself, like as a notification, you will see them in the news. Fair?
True.
There are some quotable moments from guests coming up. That's all I'll say. There are interviews that have just been done that are going to be released very soon. Stay tuned. Just saying. And then lastly, I just wanted to put this up there too, if anyone missed it. We are doing Giveaway City. We have one being announced tomorrow, but for today still, this was announced yesterday. AJ Pierzynski, Lance Lynn, signatures on an authenticated first pitch of the season baseball. You got to follow FT on YouTube, which obviously you're doing if you're watching the show at the moment, but for the later audience podcast, the whole deal. So if you want to win a signed baseball from AJ and Lance, it's AJ's first pitch. They call it the clank ball. AJ's holding it right now. It's got the shiny authentication sticker on there. So you got to subscribe to the YouTube channel and then show us proof, throw it in the reply to the tweet, and then we'll pick a winner next week. Big giveaway tomorrow. I'll give you one hint. He homered in the Angels-Orioles game, and he signed something for us. We'll talk about it, okay?
Mike Trout?
Adley?
I'm not telling. I'm not telling.
Mike Trout signed my
There's
chest protector here. I'm not giving that away.
A lot of candidates. Kratz hats while the music's playing. What do you got today?
We got way back to American Legion. Did you have American Legion? This is my American Legion hat. I found it at the bottom of my bag of hats. The Souderton Warriors.
Wow. They should have done the alliteration with the S, like serpent.
Dude, back when Kratz was in American Legion, they could barely get the S on the cap. I think they were doing alliteration.
Yeah. This was my first fitted hat ever. Like this was boss hat.
Those are the Great Britain jersey guys. So hey, Josh, great to see you again. We'll see everyone.
Josh.
In Atlantic City tomorrow. Keep growing that beard.
Looking strong.
I like it.
Looks
Thank
great.
you. Thank you, guys.